Hello and welcome then, champions, to this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, Cup number 29, and the second week of the month of November. My name, as always, is Hi-Res Vox, and joining me today, I've got a couple of familiar voices at this point on the mic, but to start things off, it is Unexceptional TV. Patrick, how you doing today? It is very early in the morning for you, for which I wholeheartedly apologize.
I'm doing good. I'm a little tired, but we're gonna rock it today, Vox.
That's pretty much how it goes, right? There's always that that issue with working across, transatlantic, I should say, with Europe and North America, is that somebody gets screwed over by time zones. Used to be me, frequently is me still, stay up very late at night, but this time around it's Patrick, of which I have a great deal of personal satisfaction. But we've got some great games coming up for you today. Of course, we'll be picking up broadcasts from the semi-finals and onwards, showing you both of those, as well as today's grand finals in the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. Now, a quick bit of introductory information. If you're unfamiliar with the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup and you want to know a bit more about the format, well then, look no further. It's a monthly repeating circuit, kind of like the PGS if you're familiar with that, but you can compete in every single week of open bracket competition, and the monthly finals invite the top 8 teams via the standings, which are accumulated through cumulative points throughout every single open bracket qualifier cup, at the end of the month for an increased cash prize pool. Do bear in mind that we have crystal prizing and cash prizing available every single week for the Open Bracket Qualifier Cups, and if you're a team looking to maybe get started within the European esports scene and really cut your teeth, well then, it's a great opportunity for you to jump on in, find some friends. The ESL Play platform is very, very easy to use and very accessible, and a lot of the players you actually see on high level, including PPL teams right now, started out within the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup and really made a name for themselves. And speaking of, we got some storylines to follow there a little bit later, but for the time being, let's go ahead and take a look at today's bracket, which is coming up on your screen right now. What kind of games are we looking at today? Have we got any familiar faces coming through on Exceptional?
Absolutely do. I mean, we've seen the Gangstars here a couple of times recently, and they've been just crushing the opposition. They've been looking really good. Not to mention the Handsome Jacks we've sort of seen.
They've been around about.
You were saying earlier that they've been here.
Yeah, Handsome Jacks. It's a weird team, right? I'll just break down the roster for you quickly. We've got Nino Sassler and Sorat Sayre as the team owners, Lau Smurf, Nyali, Raptor, and Skillganon. So a lot of names which, if you're familiar with European ranked scene to start off with, you'll recognize those. If you've also been following Paladins esports for a while, you'll recognize Skillganon from events like the Masters LAN back this year in April, and Nino Sassler is very widely known as a very high-level online player within the European Paladins community. So I think they've actually worked under this team name before. They've been around about a little bit. It'd be interesting to see how they face up against the slightly more established within the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup Revital Gaming at this point. But the very first set that is coming up today, which is the one that we're going to be breaking down first, is B5 versus Gangstars. And this one has quite a few storylines itself, because B5 Unexceptional, they're the top team within the CIS region. You know, they've performed incredibly well throughout the Paladins Global Series. Gangstars, they're the ones from Europe within the Paladins Global Series that are heading to LAN next week, actually, for the HRX Wildcard qualifiers, and I think that speaks volumes. We've got two teams which are top of their respective regions. Are you expecting a great deal out of them today?
A lot of them today.
Oh, yeah.
I think both of these teams are really going to put on a show. We're going to see some fireworks. I mean, we have two of the best teams in the region going up against each other in the semifinals right now. So you know, this is good enough to be a finals matchup.
Well, I feel like we're setting a huge amount of weight and responsibility on both of these teams' shoulders to actually perform right now. So hopefully that won't be too much. Hopefully they won't get a little bit edgy here as we go on through to the map draft in just a moment. But a lot of exciting stuff happening. And as you said, it's kind of the finals matchup that you expect already happening in the semi-finals. Now, consistently, B5 have been sort of that team which has performed very well within the CIS region, but they've been unable to quite push through within the European region. I'm really excited to see if this time around that's something which they're actually able to do, because they're always just on the tails of teams like Gangstars, and Gangstars have been fighting off against teams like Pompa Team more recently, putting up a very good fight and developing a lot. So we'll see if the intrinsic competition within the CIS region itself and within the European region is enough to push this team over the edge. However, there is only one place we can go from here. Let's head on through to the map draft for now and take a quick look and see exactly where we'll be starting the set off today between B5 and Gangstars. First of all, map bans, what do we got?
Fish Market coming out as the first map ban and Stone Keep as the second. And our first map's going to be on Serpent Beach.
Ooh, that's an interesting one. So Fish Market and Stone Keep, they're very open maps, it feels like. You see a lot of Charlotte on them, notably within the PPL, a lot of Strix on Fish Market as well. Serpent Beach, quintessential sort of like neutral first pick for both of these teams, but with recent nerfs in the most recent patch to vertical movement on Androxus with their decreased dash distance, and Ruckus as well, do you think that these teams might be trying to pull out different strategies on Serpent Beach, or a bit more of the same here?
We've seen hits to mobility on a lot of characters in this most recent patch, and so normally you see a lot of Ruckus with aerial assault kind of dominating on Serpent Beach, and
as to whether that comes out again, it's a bit questionable, right? Because there are some areas which Ruckus could reach very easily. I don't actually know if Ruckus can still reach some of the same vantage points he used to be able to with the decreased vertical distance of aerial assault. We'll have to wait and see if Ruckus is still a priority pick. Let's head on through to the champion draft for game number 1 on Serpent Beach to see how it all begins in this best-of-3 semifinals matchup starting now. Coming up on your screen, you can see B5. They've got the first pick, first ban right now. They'll go ahead and take away Torvald, so immediately just don't want to deal with that protection bubble.
Good on every map, as is Makoa. Right now, frontliners, there's not one frontliner who's not like extremely in the meta, and Terminus gonna pull out the new champion box.
Oh, that's a very high priority pick, and with Terminus immediately taken off the table, well, you gotta wonder if there's anything which can disrupt that sort of frontline warrior. You don't want to get near him, you want plenty of damage to be able to blow up all the damage reduction which Terminus brings. No champion better than that for Bomb King, and matching that tankiness as well with Inara is a good look so far.
Yeah, it's a good way to make sure you can't get on you, just put up the impasse wall. B5 gonna go with the double tank so far, Ruckus, and then they're gonna pick up the flanker Eevee.
Okay, and Eevee's not a champion that we see a great deal of so far in the competitive scene. She's made a bit of a resurgence recently, but B5 have a very dedicated Eevee player on their team in unlimited power. Excited to see what they can do.
Looks like Gangstar's gonna grab Genos as the first healer in the matchup. One of the strongest in the meta for sure, and they're going to follow it with the Fernando, make sure they pick up their second frontliner.
That's certainly the case. Janos as well, seeing the high prioritization over Maldamba, especially when you've got a Nanara on your team, is a little strange. Maldamba then of course picked up by B5, but the Grog pick coming through, recent buffs have put the Lightning Orc right to the forefront of the competitive scene. I'm interested to see how this will combo with Terminus. Terminus will be so survivable under these settings, but Androxus to round out the lineup. Let's look at these two teams in a vacuum right now. We've got a great deal of sustain on B5, a good deal of movement as well, and Gangstars, well, they're bringing a ton of damage is what I'm seeing right here, but who are you giving the edge to in this situation?
The Gangstars comp better. They just bring a lot more pressure on the point, and between Inara and Genos, it becomes real difficult to shut down that front line.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how it does go down, of course, because execution is what it all comes down to, what really matters in game. B5 versus Gangstars, game number 1 on Serpent Beach is ready to begin. So let's not beat around the bush any longer. Let's get straight to it and bring you immediately into game. Starting things off then with our champion picks, B5 on the left-hand side, will run through them real fast for you in the legendaries too. MTZ is playing Aerial Assault Ruckus, Madara on Maelstrom Grok, Unlimited Power on Wormhole Eevee, Mad Mac with Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, and Ovim with the Undying legendary for Terminus.
The other side, we have Sorsa, Chain Reaction, Bomb King, Menchmise with 360 with Mother's Grace, Inara, Navron, Celestial Touch, Genos, Westo, Scorched Fireball, Fernando, and Skosas with the Godslayer and Droxus.
Now, I want to take a look at Skosas' loadout real fast, and you can see that, there we go. So they're running a more traditional Androxus loadout. Saw a little bit of an interesting pickup last week with Seething Hatred 4 taken up alongside Power of the Abyss 4 for a very, very, very rapid Nether Step resets, and as you can see, that's not quite what they're going for something a little bit more standard here, and as a result, I'm expecting to see more of this sort of typical Skosas playstyle. Are there any other champions that you're really interested in seeing some details about before we get into this first round?
Interested in Terminus right now. He's
let's
new.
take a look.
You know, we haven't really seen him before. I love it.
There we go, Strength of Stone heavily prioritized, and we can rebuild him, so with the double support, Terminus is going to be very tanky. You can see initially towards the objective they go to try and match Inara. Beautiful impasse wall. Skosas under a lot of fire already though. Ovim's just contesting for the time being, but up on the high ground, Source moving forward, and Bomb King in your backline is certainly not something that you want to run into as Menchmeyer picks up first blood on Unlimited Power.
That's a big deal because it's on to Eevee, one of their big damage dealers. It's basically Eevee and Ruckus that they're going to need to deal the damage, and Terminus has already gone down. No ultimate yet to revive him.
And we talked about how Terminus was going to be so survivable with this double support meta. That's just not the case so far. Unlimited Power does gain the Maiming Spirits, tries to blink to the high ground, forced to wormhole away immediately. And Skosis as well as Saucer on the Bomb King here are doing such a good job at displacing all of their opponents. 72% and rising for Gangstars on cap. Inara's just happy to sit there. Nobody is contesting right now.
This is a dream for Inara. She just gets to hang out on the point, cap it, and make a ton of money. Ruckus is going to try to get in her way, and they're going to take down Genos for it, but they're up 96-9 in 2 minutes.
Wow, that is brutal so far. And B5, well, they did manage to come in with a bit of a comeback. MTZ stays alive. Ovim receives a lot of healing coming through, but will it be enough? Trying to take down Westo, and the Fernando is the rest of the B5 squad, and MTZ does get the kill, so a good retake coming through there. But Androxus is still alive. Madara contests briefly, but oh, they've been stunned out by Grumpy Bomb. Dread Serpent could get a kill, but no. Oh, beautiful there at the end. Unlimited Power can get it. In comes King Bomb to try and clean up. Saucer detonates everybody away. Overtime is ticking, but again, Ovim is back in. Terminus is here. How long can they stand, though, versus all of this incoming damage from Gangstars?
They're going to answer that question for you. Not very long. Basically, just a ruckus on the point right now. Oh, a great Void Grip coming through from Genos and an ultimate coming out of Grok. The Gangstars have been pushed back here after B5 has been forced to burn quite a few ultimates to do it, though.
I can't believe this. B5, though, have got the retake, and now they're zoning so well. MTZ up towards the high ground, making sure that they get the dismounts here so nobody can close the gap. But in comes Fernando, 96-99%. B5 almost had it, but in comes the seismic crash. MTZ focuses down Westo as well. They get the slay here to pick things up. Double kill for the Ruckus. That's a Rampage with a triple kill, and already B5 have managed to secure their capture here. Gangstars go down. Oh my goodness, B5 played that so perfectly.
They really did. Well, the Gangstars, they had this big advantage and they looked good. And it looked at first like B5 were just throwing ultimates at the point not to lose it. But then they started to stabilize. The Gangstars started trickling in one by one by one. And when you're doing that, the point can disappear like a flash. You know, you need to get on it as a team and you need to fight it as a unit. And that's just what B5 is doing, and it's not what Gangstars is doing.
Such a really big turning point. Oh, punch! Defiance execution there, but such a big turning point for that really came for me when we saw Hexafire and Tempest used in combination. Gonna take a quick look at the healing chart so far. Only 3,000 on Grok, but I bet a great deal of that was actually from the Tempest used to keep MTZ alive, and as a result, B5 have the advantage. They're already pushed over halfway on this payload right now.
Yeah, they're looking really good. They're about at the difficult choke point. They're at about where it's hard to get through. But right now, Skosis in the backline, making sure nobody gets to this point healthy. And if he has his way, nobody gets the point at all.
Oh, that's absolutely right. And Gangstars are doing a very good job at zoning now. They stacked up 4 ultimates as well. And I'm curious to see if these will be necessary to come out on defense. Take a look at Saucer's positioning here as well. Just making sure that they poke players out before they get too far in. But it's actually towards Skosis again, which I'm really interested in, because Skosis is playing so aggressively right now.
Aggressive play out of Skosis, make sure you get those dismounts. At this point, if B5 get dismounted early, they have to walk so much further than the Gangstars do to defend.
And it's just a difficult situation to be in. Skosis goes in, gets another Defiance punch kill, double kill, reversal hits for over 2,000 on Madara, turning their attention to Ovim, looking for the damage, and there's the Defiance kill again. The melee strike goes straight through Power Siphon. Triple kill for Skosis, 27 seconds left. B5 can't make their way through, but now they're coming back, looking for vengeance.
These punches coming out of Skosis right now are just filthy, getting right in the back of people's heads. When you don't see the punch coming, it feels like it hurts twice as much.
And it's 700 damage, but that's 700 damage that goes through Power Siphon because it's a melee strike, just like Maeve's Pounce does as well, and that's so important here. Already losing 1 member for each team, this point push is continuing. Ovim forcing the Power Siphon, reversal, reset comes through again. Skosis looking for the damage in the backline, Navron trying to spot out unlimited power. Overtime is being contested, but Ovim is getting brought lower and lower on health right now, and little by little B5 are losing pressure, but in comes Tempest, keeping everybody healthy, and the point contest is continuing.
This is a long way to have to push for B5 in overtime. Inara getting killed during the channel of her ultimate. Menschmeiser just not quite fast enough on the trigger pull. Madara has to go into the Ghost Walk to make sure that they survive.
But really importantly there, Inara still has the ultimate available on respawn to try and come back in with that. Westo's gonna use Immortal around the objective, trying to hold on, but Eevee throws the Ice Storm and hold this on a second. Gangstars defend? I'm sorry, what just happened? Who stepped off the objective there?
when you're that deep into overtime, it's so hard not to step just 1 foot off the payload just for 1 second, just to fight somebody. And that's what happened is just that I think they all just took 1 step too far. Overtime had been ticking for too long, and that was it.
And that's brutal, right? Because Ovum, of course, is melee, is Terminus. So if they're holding the objective and they want to actually deal damage to people, well then either you use your Calamity Blast and then use up the charges which you've developed with Strength of Stone to give you extra damage reduction, or you just kind of sit there and you soak damage for a while. So really good play from Gangstars. B5 let that slip a little bit. We'll have to see if they come back in on the next capture objective and see if they can pull out more of an advantage.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's difficult at this high-level play to get your positioning always exactly right, but positioning on a melee character is the most important thing because it's just you and your body. Ooh, the Hexafire coming out and the Impasse Wall to stop about half of it. What a great play coming out of Inara.
Impasse broke half of it. Reversal return 3,000 from Skozas there, but Unlimited Power speaks with vengeance. Gets 1 kill on his Skozas. Looks for more. Wormhole keeps her nimble, but Westo's got the Flame Lance burning, and this Eevee is about to get cooked. Killing spree for Westo right now. Ovum is surviving after taking down Menschmeyer, and they're very, very tanky with no health left, but eventually Ovum perishes, goes into the ultimate. Terminus looks to get the execution, but doesn't manage it there, so nothing really gained out of the Resurrection ult, and now turns their attention towards the peripheral of this fight. B5 already have 40% on the point.
B5 are looking real strong. They're looking really coordinated, which is exactly what you want to see. They're here fighting as a team, and Ovum is undying, just like Terminus wants to be, on the big hammer slam.
And that's really important right there. Double kill for Ovum as they look for more. Turn their attention to Fernando. 1 more shot will do it. Unlimited Power getting credit for that kill. B5 rolling ahead in this capture. Upwards of 78% now to Gangstars 36, 87 and climbing. Ovum is just swinging in the backline of Gangstars. No sign of this one slowing down. B5 capture almost for free at the end there. And so much work was done by the undying stone monstrosity that is Terminus, played by Ovum.
B5 right now are aggressively positioned, making sure that the Gangstars are all going to be dismounted for one, but also just can't comfortably get to a position where they can contest the payload. They're going to get a lot of free push out of this as Ruckus has to jump over the wall. And
Terminus is back here again, swinging their axe. Ovum looks for the kill. MTZ secures it onto Menschmeyer. Nice use of Power Siphon as well, blocks the incoming damage, getting their Calamity Blast up high, so Ovum is even more survivable. And a cute little healing totem as well from Grok, just saying, oh, you know what, you're out of line of sight from Mugdown. I'll keep you topped up.
Yeah, Grok is an interesting healer because he heals in one place, you know, because of that totem. So it's difficult for him to heal during a push. It's difficult for him to position aggressively. You know, he really thrives in the defense positions, but here comes the King Bomb. Doesn't look like it's going to find anybody, Vox.
No, it doesn't. Gangstars do get a couple of kills off the back of that, and the displacement provided by King Bomb was good at forcing everybody back, but no real damage potential, but still, Gangstars hold on. You know, I want to ask you a question, though, on Exceptional. Gangstars decided to pull the trigger on that ultimate pretty early into defense this time around, and last time, B5 were actually pushing them heavily in overtime. Is that the secret? Do they just need to start using their ultimates more and using what they've got in the tank here?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, people they see their ultimate and they're like, no, I have to save this for the absolute perfect opportunity. And honestly, usually it's just better to burn it when you can and get the value you can when you can. And that's what we're seeing here is that they're burning them a little bit earlier, and it's really working for them because it's keeping B5 pushed back. It's stopping this aggression coming out of him, and it's making him uncomfortable.
Everybody is at bay so far, but Grok surges with power, trying to keep their team alive. Can't hit him through the walls, though. Madara's forced to withdraw from around the outside of the objective, but a big shock pulse comes through, and one is cleaned up. Westo takes down MTZ in response. Double kill for Madara. Ghostwalk keeps them safe and healthy for the time being, and Madara retreats, but Skozas coming in looking for the kill shot. Gets the Defiance. Skozas has really just started to punch people in the face. I got no other way of saying it. Skozas is fed up with what people are doing right now. They're just like, you know, get out of here. Get out of here. I have my ring on. This is going to sting. And so far, it's working out so well. 5 seconds left, almost in overtime.
We're at 11 minutes here. Up 2-1 is B5, but it's about to be 2-2 if they can't get on the payload. Overtime is ticking, but that clock starts to run out real quickly, Vox. And so B5 need to get on the payload and push.
Oh, already though, Immortal used by Westo, and Gangstars seem to have tried to save too much in the tank, but Nafron gets a double kill off the back of Through Time and Space, and that'll shut down all potential of this payload rolling through. 2-2, all tied up. What a beautiful ultimate from the support here, but that burnt a lot in Gangstars' fuel tank.
Yeah, we've seen a slight buff to that. The casting time has gone down from 1.5 seconds to just over 1 second, so it's a little bit easier to confirm that big damage coming out of the Genos ultimate.
That's so important. I mean, last week we saw it combo off the back of a Makoa Dredge Anchor, which is impressive in itself, but hitting that one blind without any crowd control, really important there. Talk to me about items quickly, as we do have a brief pause coming through. We've got them up on the screen. B5 have gained both captures so far. They've got the extra 600 credit advantage over their opponents, but how are Gangstars able to supplement and keep up with them here?
Let's see, the Gangstars are buying slightly cheaper things. We have a lot of resiliences coming out, making sure that they don't fall for that crowd control too badly. Have 2 level 3 cauterizes, but the Gangstars also have a level 2 cauterize on their healer Navron, which is, I think that's interesting. So even though they're behind, they're going to come out with more, or no, excuse me, there's a level 2 on Terminus. Ovum picking it up 3rd, sneaking past me. How dare you, Ovum?
And Ovum's also going for the Nimble there as well, just to supplement their movement speed a little bit, try and allow them to stick like glue to other targets. Look at Saucer though right now. I actually want to take a look at Saucer's loadout, because this Bomb King is running Nimble too, and do they have it as well? They don't actually have it. There's a card called Shock and Awe in Bomb King's loadouts, which is available where if you get a kill with Detonate, your movement speed increases. Saucer, I think Saucer either just wants to be able to run away from Terminus at this point, or just wants more mobility. What's your angle on this one?
I think it's the more mobility. I think we'll see they also have air blast, so they have a little more control while they're in the air from their own poppy bombs. I think they just want to be a little bit more in control of their own positioning, and that's going to be good when you get surprised by characters like MTZ, Ruckus, or Ovum on the Terminus.
The last thing you want to do is have Ruckus dunk down with Hexafire on top of you. And speaking of Ruckus, MTZ, the only player across the field right now that has their ultimate available currently. Hold that thought, no, Terminus has just come up, but Skozis was already picked up 1 kill onto Unlimited Power, and now with a player advantage and no flank left available for the side of B5, Skozis turns their attention to Ovum, but Ovum hits straight through that reversal. That's a fight you don't want to take. Shatterfall lands onto Inara, and Eevee is returning to the fight, looking for damage towards Bomb King, getting the slay.
Unlimited, yeah, picking up Sorsa. That's a really big kill right now. Bomb King brings a lot of the point pressure and a lot of the area denial. And now Fernando is going to get caught out of position, but Eevee is going to go down as well.
And it's really importantly here, we've got an equal point contest so far. 51% to 39 right now, but on the objective, holding still is Maldumba. Big seismic crash comes out. Kingmon to follow up as well. Will it get the kill onto Ovum? No, that resilience paying off in dividends.
Yeah, Terminus, I mean, is so tanky, just so difficult to kill. And then when you do kill him, he pulls out his ultimate, he comes back, does a ton of damage to you. True frontliner right here, especially with that power siphon. Oh, gets killed during the Shatter Strike, though.
And here we go, MTZ with the Hexafire tries to clear the objective. Unlimited Power and MTZ picking up a kill each of their own. It's up to Skozis to try and turn the tide. They look for Unlimited Power on the backline, get the slay off the big sticky bomb kill from Saucer, and now dive in to contest the objective, but B5 clutch it through half a second too, maybe even less than that too late. Skozis doing so much of the legwork for their team, but it's just not enough here.
Yeah, Skozis is looking really good, gonna pick up another kill on MTZ, and this is what you need out of Androxus. He's a little bit less mobile now, but he does just as much damage, and when Sorsa Bomb King doesn't really have the mobility that Skozis does, he's the one that needs to make these flanking kills.
And step it up, and that's exactly what they've been doing. Skozis is 20, 13, and 8 so far. The only player matching them is Unlimited Power from B5 at 18, 11, and 8, and looks for Navron. Channeling through time and space, Navron is a very easy kill, but Saucer gets the shutdown in response, and we're about all tied up.
Yeah, picking up 2 kills on both sides. It's going to slow down this push a little bit. Remember that every kill is beneficial for the defense. The further up the payload is pushed, the longer it takes to get there for the pushing team. Whereas the defense just gets to respawn. We're like, oh, we're here again. Can't push us.
Ready to go, and that's exactly what they've been able to do. Gangstars holding on a little bit with the respawn proximity advantage so far. Now, B5, they can potentially win the entire game here if they manage to get the push on through. Gangstars' base has been unbreakable so far, whether that's due to maybe some fallacy from the side of B5 stepping off the objective, or Gangstars just holding on with great ultimates. Who do B5 need to look to shut down in order to force their way through?
First, they need to take out Skosis. Skosis is the one who's frustrating their backline. He's providing that first line of pressure.
That's exactly what Unlimited Power tries to do. Blinks in, gets actually Void Crypt, but does Wormhole back to safety, so is able to escape for the time being, and maybe changes their mind against going in versus a lot of players up on the high ground. But Inara, almost dead, doesn't actually end up falling right here, somehow staying alive, and this is really big for Gangstars. 30 seconds left in the point. Skosis hasn't been taken down just yet. Unlimited Power is looking for poke, but B5, they might have to commit ultimates if they want to go through.
Yeah, we're seeing the same move over Unlimited Power over and over again. And it's jump in for a second, get a shot off, jump back, and then not really do anything. I think Unlimited Power on Eevee is having a little bit of trouble deciding where they want to go. Oh, no!
That was the beautiful Shadowfall up to the top. I think Genesis Void Grip actually assisted Ovum in getting to the high ground there and immediately was punished for it. Not a situation you want to be in, and now B5 can try and force this through. Incredible amount of damage coming out of the Calamity Blast there. Ovum does end up falling. Ultimate is ready, waits for Inara to throw the Seismic Crash before out comes this massive blast of 2400 damage. The ultimates are being thrown out. Dread Serpent is used. MTZ holds onto their Hexafire, doesn't get it off, and it's neck and neck here as overtime is continuing for B5.
Yeah, but the longer we're in overtime, the better it is for the Gangstars. They can't set 1 foot off the payload or they're going to defend successfully.
And that's exactly what we just saw happen. Nice cleanup at the end there from Sorcerer as well. Let's take a look at the damage charts on screen. And oh my goodness, Sorcerer is sitting at the top at 125,000. I'm not surprised to see Androxus up there, but let's talk about Madara for a second on the Grok.
That 12,000 or 120,000 damage coming out of Grok. I mean, the lightning blast. I mean, he's been reworked, so he does a lot more damage. He doesn't slow anymore, but you know there are 5 bounces that come out of his lightning shock, and his gun has 100 ammo instead of 75. So I'm expecting him to be more damaging than we've seen Groks in the past. But at 120,000. He's looking like a true DPS.
Absolutely is, and the itemization all tied up now. Some rejuvenates coming out for Gangstars. Oh my goodness, Ghostwalk really needed there to avoid the incoming through time and space. Trying to make good use of that decreased channel time was Navron. Hexafire used by MTZ. Westo gets the shutdown. That's a full-on trade though from the Afterburn coming from the Flame Lance on the objective. Ovum holds things down. Skosis flanks around the outside looking for the damage onto somebody, anybody. Blinks in, or excuse me, steps in towards Unlimited Power and finds the shutdown. Down as the wormhole blink spot is camped. 51% are rising for B5. Gangstars, though, now they might have a way back in, and King Bomb is ready to go.
Yeah, the Gangstars are down 57-12 at 3-3. They need to cap this to win the game, but here comes the King Bomb King.
MTZ getting brought very low. Unstoppable as Sorcerer goes on a 12 streak right now. 7 kills in a row. Cheeky Poppy Bomb not working, but off the objective at least are all of B5, so Gangstars can get some cap back. And oh no, Unlimited Power gets trapped inside the ice block, barely surviving there. Is able to get out of dodge. Madara shut down from around the corner. Sorcerer doing work for their team. And now Skosis is starting to return to the fight. 63% are rising for Gangstars. B5 need to find a way back in, but Sorcerer just doesn't stop the frags here.
MTZ going down is a huge deal. That's a highly damaging frontline tank, and that's really what they need to fight back from behind right now. Gangstars up 99%. They're going to take this victory. The only point they capped was the only one that mattered.
But that's all it comes down to, right? In the end, it's the person who wins that final point. You can get 3-0 up, and you can still lose the game, and B5 must be gutted after that. They had such good point control throughout all the early rounds in this game, but at the end there, I've got to ask you, Unexceptional, what went wrong?
Sorcerer just got to free cast at the end there too much. Just when you're not addressing a Bomb King, especially late in the game, when items are online, and they're bringing the real late game damage, you're going to have a bad time.
It's really difficult.
Sorcerer just got to throw bombs for what felt like forever, uninterrupted.
So was there anybody, do you think, on B5's roster that could have really tried to prioritize Sorcerer? Unlimited Power was doing a good job at poking, but it seemed like whenever they went in on Sorcerer, Skosis was there to protect them.
B5's team comp is really dependent. It's not a pick comp, you know. They're not looking to flex out and then pick off somebody who's a little out of position. They want to fight as a unit on the point and then push the point. And we saw for 3 rounds that strategy looked good. But just when it came to the end, they fall through the cracks, and then they paid for it.
Yeah, it was just difficult. And again, the Bomb King doing a lot of work. Some initial trades as well came through, which maybe shouldn't have happened as well. Westo trading out with MTZ, and that's difficult to come back from as well, especially once you lose your powerhouse frontliner that dumps an entire Hexafire into one Fernando to try and shut them down. But in the end, it is, of course, Gangstars that take the victory in set number 1. For map number 2, we're actually moving away from this map aesthetic of the Serpent Beach Temple Isle theme. We're going all the way through to Brightmarsh. Now, talk to me about champion picks on Brightmarsh. We just saw a very mobile comp come out of both teams with picks like the Androxus as well as picks like the Eevee. Are these still champions that you expect to see on Brightmarsh, or maybe something different?
I mean, yes. Brightmarsh is a map that heavily favors very mobile champions because of all the little buildings. So the easier it is to get in and out of buildings and around corners specifically, or bring the verticality, you know, like a Drogoz or an Eevee can. These are the champions that these are the damage dealing champions, at least, that I believe will be prioritized. Interesting
to see. And well, the front line so far, Terminus has certainly made their mark in these games. We've seen a lot of that, you know what, this is embarrassing because there is actually a name for this race of people within the realm, and I'm going to have to ask you, Patrick, to go and find that out for me because it has slipped my mind for the time being. But I want to say Stone Wardens, I know that's Inara's title, but still, these frontliners, with especially their deployable nature instead of shield nature, are very highly prioritized right now within the meta. And with that in mind, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what champions are pulled out for the second draft of the game. Let's head straight on through and see exactly how the lineups will look at the end of the draft for the map of Brightmarsh, coming up on your screens right now. And this time around, it's Gangstars that have first pick, but they take Terminus away.
Not surprised by that. Terminus was just pure chaos to them. It looked like they were really struggling to figure out how to deal with him, and in banning Terminus, it means they get to pick up Makoa.
Oh, that's really interesting there. So we haven't seen Makoa come out into the competitive scene for a while. Torval taken away as well means that Dredgenk is available, but B5 respond with Inara Genos. That's very high Genos prioritization right here, actually.
Yeah, I think Genos should be prioritized on this map, though, because there's so many walls. Genos doesn't need a sightline like other healers do. He can just stand, 2 buildings away and be 100% safe while still healing.
And that's a really important word I think you just touched on there, safe. Because Gangstars have picked up Bomb King, likely going through to Sorcerer again alongside Fernando. 2 picks which worked out very well for them in the last round, but how did B5 respond here?
B5 are going to grab their own Ruckus and a Grok. I mean, both of these picks worked really well for them last time, especially the Grok with the healing and the incredible amount of damage. And the Gangstars are going to grab Cassie and Meldamba to round out their draft.
So the Meldamba is unsurprising, but the Cassie pickup, well, it's a little different. Last week, we were demonstrated by actually Gangstars how devastating big game Cassie can be on certain maps, hitting for over 1,000 on every shot for 6 seconds after disengage hits a front line. And versus Inara, versus Ruckus, who's relatively simple and easy to hit, that's valuable, but looking to put the pressure onto Cassie now is Eevee as well. B5, I respect their draft. They've gone, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they almost won the last game, but will this be enough? They don't have the Terminus for all that sustain anymore. They're banking on just Inara here, and Gangstars, of course, have Makoa for the displacement.
Inara is one of the most potent frontliners, I think, on Brightmarsh because of Impasse. She builds the walls, and there's not a lot you can do about it. If you're on the other team, you just have to find another way in. But more importantly, it's Grok. I think Grok on Brightmarsh, we're going to see him bring out a lot more healing because there's a lot more little sneaky places that he can hide that healing totem, and there's a lot more tighter fight areas where it's going to have much more impact.
Well, let's head on through then immediately into game and see exactly how this one is broken down for game number 2, map number 2 of Brightmarsh. And starting things off here, Gangstars on the left-hand side are led by Menschmeyer 360 with Scorch Fernando, Westo with Leviathan Makoa. It's also on Chain Reaction Bomb King. Skoses, there's the big game Cassie. Navron is running Spirit's Chosen Meldamba, but who are B5 running this time?
Unlimited power with Wormhole Eevee, excuse me. Celestial Touch, Genos, Ovum, Mother's Grace, Inara. Madara, Maelstrom, Grok, and MTZ Aerial Assault Ruckus.
Now, the initial itemization looks relatively simple between the two teams. Unlimited Power actually hasn't picked up an item, so that might hold B5 back slightly on the initial point fight. Dodge rolling around the outside, though, doesn't seem like it matters. Unlimited Power gets the slay onto Cassie, and we talked about how important that was going to be. B5 already coming ahead so far, will be able to get some capture control now, and they'll rise upwards of Gangstar's 12%.
They're looking really good, and a lot of that I really think is this team comp they had on Serpent Beach really should have been drafted for Bright Marsh. It looks great on Bright Marsh because they want to fight as a unit and they want to fight in these little corridors.
And look at the shock pulse damage coming out of Madara right now. Down goes the totem. They're managing to stay alive thanks to the healing around the corner. Of course, healing totem going through walls there. And the shock pulse damage keeps on coming through. 12,000 already in under 2 minutes. This is remarkable. And it just doesn't show any signs of slowing down. It's 66% already for B5.
B5 are looking really strong. Remember, Grok's Shock Pulse can bounce up to 5 times between people, and the damage has been buffed recently. So when people group up against Grok, Grok just gets a whole bunch of free damage, and they're going to capture the objective B5 is at 2 minutes.
And that's just such a fast, such a simple capture right there. And Madara's positioning here is fantastic. Retreating exactly as they need to, making sure that everybody from Gangstars was held at bay. This feels like a same old story situation as Seismic Crash comes through very early from Oven, but just trying to get some momentum here, and it seems to be working.
Yeah, I think it's the right choice. Is just make sure that the Gangstars are constantly on their back foot. With B5, I'm sure is a little bit worried about capping 3 times and then being defended 3 times, so they want to capture the point this time. They want to get up 2-0 and make that money.
And you respect that. You just want to see it keep on rolling, but Skoses has a line of sight onto Inara. Disengage lands, even though she's CC immune. 1120 damage per shot comes through, and the Stone Warden goes down. Although Unlimited Power does get the kill in response, so we've reached a bit of an impasse here. B5, if they want to not be held at bay this time around, they've got to look for priority picks here. Who on the side of Gangstars this time around does Unlimited Power need to find and shut down?
First, most importantly, it's Bomb King and Cassie. Once that damage is removed, they'll finally be able to push forward. But because Cassie and Bomb King provide so much damage, they basically provide these no-fun zones that you can't walk through.
I love the terminology there, no fun zone, but it's absolutely right. You've got the zone denial from Grumpy Bomb, and Cassie swinging for such a high amount of damage, really difficult to make your way through, and so far you can see exactly that this is the case with Bomb King, as they're able to box out Grok, even inside their healing totem. It's also doing a good job at defending for their team right now. Can they get the kill versus MTZ? One more bomb will do it, but no, Emitter keeps them safe for the time being, but Source is just giving chase, and that should be the kill.
Emitter for so long, Ruckus. I got bad news for you. Bomb King Sorsa is up in this front line, making sure everybody is taking damage. Look at this, 31,000 damage for both of the Gangstars damage dealers right now, and they're the ones creating the front line, and they're the ones breaking the back of B5 right now. And with less than 30 seconds left, it's going to be a tall order for B5 to push this payload.
Now, speaking of damage numbers, it's really important to note that Grok is still up there, but the problem that I'm seeing on Exceptional is that right now, Makoa is right underneath all of those players. There are 3 of Gangstars in a knot at the top, and all of those players have a great deal of kill potential, but hold that thought. Seismic Crash comes through from Inara, looking to blast the way through. Ovum tries to hold on, but Skoses gets the big game shots, which are enough to finish them off, and now the payload is in overtime.
I like that ultimate coming out of Inara with so little time left and so far to push. Yes, Bright Marsh is one of the shorter pushing maps, but you still have to push more than half of the total area, and it's too much to ask. Defended successfully by the Gangstars.
Look at these slash lines right now for Gangstars. You know, Westo didn't die the entirety of that first round. After Gangstars lost the catch, I would have thought that Westo would have fallen at least once, but no, able to stay alive, and Sorcerer on an 11 streak only has 1 death with 7 kills and 5 assists to their name. Really good play from Gangstars. Let's take a look at the items and see which team is pulling ahead after that long-winded defense.
Like we got 3 level 2 cauterizes coming out of the Gangstars and a level 2 wrecker to make sure that Ruckus doesn't have a good time, and it looks like it's going to be the same for B5. 3 level 2 cauterizes and a level 2 wrecker. So, I mean, we look almost tied up.
it's pretty equivalent right now. We're matching very well. B5, they're getting a little bit of extra utility online, but that's due to the 300 neutral credits. Bomb King, though, goes to the high ground. Skosis has already activated Scout to try and reveal their enemies. Exafire inside of the Bright Marsh capture zone comes through from MTZ. Grok tries to surge with power, but gets shut down by Saucer. Really good play there to make sure that Maelstrom doesn't keep everybody, that Tempest doesn't keep everybody healed up for Maelstrom Grok. Unlimited power under fire gets shut down by Skosis. This time around, Gangstars are fully on top of this objective control.
It was almost like if B5 used an ultimate, that was a death sentence. Cassie just hung out outside, looked, waited, and then picked people off when they weren't looking. No one saw Cassie coming from behind.
No, and that's really important here. Skosis is doing work for the squad, and now it's Westo who's out to zone, pulls away the ruckus from the Dread Serpent that comes out. Getting in there is MTZ trying to contest, but there's just too much crowd control from Gangstars right now. Together we are strong, says Fernando, holding down the objective. Menschmeyer keeps everybody alive, and B5 trickle in one by one. I don't think they're getting this capture. Overtime is ticking. Gangstars get it. And B5, they're on the back foot for the first time, it seems, this entire set.
To talk about Makoa being on a 17 streak and King Bomb on a 16 streak. B5 are really struggling right now to pick up any kind of kill. Only Cassie is on less than a 5 streak.
And it's really important as well that also your support is staying alive. Hold that thought though. Saucer goes in with King Bomb, immediately detonates and gets a kill onto Inara. They've got an 11 in a row right now. They are immortal. We can see an Annihilation come out, and beautiful positioning from Fernando's shield. Menschmeyer keeps Saucer alive perfectly. There's the retreat. There's the healing coming through from Maldamba. This is a symphony of cohesive team play right now from Gangstars. And B5, they're like a Taylor Swift pop song. They don't have any way to respond.
That last play with Fernando keeping Sorsa alive, that's like the textbook definition of good frontline play. If you look it up in the dictionary, you'll see a picture of Fernando being piloted. That was it.
That's what you do, right? It's the whole thing in Paladins is that people often play these sort of like, oh, let's play flank Nando. It's really important to remember that even if you're playing flank Nando, you can still protect your team and peel for your team. Great work so far from Gangstars, but with 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the push, B5 have managed to establish a defense, and now it's here where I'm wondering if the Grok is going to come into play at keeping everybody pushed back, just thanks to the consistent damage from Shock Pulse.
Yeah, this is absolutely where Grok heals the best, too. Grok wants to sit back in a little area, put down the heal, and give his team a place to retreat to. That's really what Grok wants, but Grok being dead is going to make it tricky to heal. Oh, and the Hexafire gets shut down as well.
Problem is, Source is back here as Bomb King. Genos gets pulled off the high ground. That chain is the length of 2 double-decker buses right here. Seismic Crash activated by Ovum, trying to defend. Inara stays alive. Out comes as well the Tempest from Grok, keeping everybody topped off and alive. CC, it mitigated by Madara there. Good use of Ghost Walk. And Westo at last goes down to MTZ. 23 seconds remaining. B5 have managed to do it. They've held their enemies at bay, but Gangstars have the ultimate control right now, and they could find a way back in, especially because with 15 seconds left, Immortal is available for Menschmeyer.
Yeah, without Bomb King, it's going to be a little tricky, but they are here, most of the Gangstars team. They definitely don't want to give this up because they have 5 seconds, but not that long to push. Fernando going to immediately go into the Immortal, make sure that they get to push this payload a little bit further, and Westo's going to go into the back end.
Westo's trying to find somebody here and is still contesting the objective. Skosis finds MTZ and Westo is staying alive, but the consistent damage from Eevee right at the end there from unlimited power is enough. Oh, nice blink to shut down Skosis as well, and B5 do defend successfully. That was so important. B5 hadn't had to defend a single time throughout this set, and I very much think that if B5 had been broken there, it would have set a big precedent for the next capture objective, which could have won the game.
The neutral point, and then you also push the payload, you're making a lot of extra money for your team as well. So you're not only ahead in the points, but now your economy is also way stronger than the enemy team, and it becomes very difficult to come back. So I think you're right. If B5 had been broken, I think they would just stay broken, and we see Gangstars run away with this.
So speaking of economy right now, net worth charts are relatively even between the two teams. And of course, up the top there, Saucer getting a lot of frags as Bomb King. Quick look at the items before we go through to the next capture round. Are you seeing anybody pull really far ahead, or kind of more even still?
Basically even, but now we're going to see the
Oh my goodness, you gotta hold that thought there. Oh my god, Madman gets the kill with through time and space. Are you kidding me? That's the beauty of the decreased channel time. Doesn't need the dredge anchor to even set that up. What are you doing here, Madman? That is rude. And B5 immediately eliminate one of their opponents to rise up to 50% on the objective in a matter of seconds. That was beautiful right there. They say, Gangstars, you've got the coordination. You know what? We've got hot plays as well, but who's this coming from around from behind the map? It's Skoses, and they're looking for somebody, but they can't seem to find them just yet.
Yeah, looks like they're going to get knocked off. Overtime already at 99%. MTZ wants to make sure that it's 100%. Going to use the Hexafire. A second ago, I was trying to talk about morale boost on Makoa, and Mad Mac just blew that thought out of my head with that incredible ultimate.
And now look at Gangstar's position. Look at Westo right here, just sitting back in their base, just kind of defeated at this point as they pulled Madara across and what looked like through the entire map there. My goodness, Westo is a master of hitting these long-range dredge anchors, but it's just not enough when B5 pull out the wombo combo like that. And a big player I think we've got to talk about right at the end there. Let's look at the damage charts again. Sitting in second, it's all about Madara here. Their use of Healing Totem and the Tempest as Grok has been so impactful this last game.
It really has been, in my opinion, the MVP for B5, because not only are they bringing healing, not a generous amount of healing, but still healing, but they're also #1 on the player damage for their team. This is not easy. These are skill shots you have to hit, you know?
Yeah, no, you've got to be able to hit the skill shot of Shock Pulse, but then it's the tracking as well, because you've got to keep that damage and that aim consistent in order to deal damage to your opponents. And Madara's been doing such a good job of it so far as well. It's only 25,000 healing on the healing charts, but that's all healing that matters when it comes down to Tempest. And there's the Shock Pulse kill. Like we talked about, that's going to open up an opportunity with 2 members down for Gangstars for B5 to push through. Unlimited Power gets another one, and now the payload is starting to roll again. This could be big.
They want to finish this right now. They do not want to give Gangstars a chance, so if they can push this all the way, it's going to close out the game right then and there, and that's what they're looking to do. Madara up in the front line.
Well, they're just cowering behind the tree right now. They're trying to make some sort of cover from in front of their opponents, but Madara bypasses all of that with Shock Pulse. Westo's Leviathan Makoa goes in, those Sorcerer as well, looking to turn the tides and get the shutdown onto Grok around the corner, who goes behind their healing totem, but Westo is here to make them pay. No, Madara stays alive, pops the Tempest. Oh no, Skoses finds them, and that takes down the ultimate, which could have kept their team alive to save the game. Very, how do we say this? Selfish use of the ult there, and Gangstars might have just bought themselves the opportunity to hold on.
Yeah, being able to pick up Madara in his ultimate, that means that now when they do regroup for a team fight, you won't have it. You won't have the healing. You won't have the damage. I mean, that's a big team fight ultimate. It kind of does a little bit of everything.
And it's important because it's been used in conjunction with Hexafire every single time. So when you've got this big old ruckus kind of smacking you with the big guns and you can't really focus on Grok, Grok gets the healing done for free. But again, with Grok dying this time around to Westo for a second time in a row, it seems like this could be the opportunity. There it is. Gangstars defend successfully. It's 3-3. For the second game in a row, and unexceptional. Can Gangstars do it again? Can they pull out the rude capture to end the game?
Seen it before. We know they can, Vox. And I think they've got a good shot at doing it. I like B5's comp for capping the point more. I think in a vacuum, it's better. But we've seen the Gangstars cap these points already. They have 4 ultimates, the Gangstars do, and these are important ultimates, especially out of Navron. I want to see Navron save that Dread Serpent until the last possible second.
And that's quite important because often you'll see one team go in ham, use all their ultimates to gain capture control, and then the retake comes in and you've got no ultimates to respond to it. Dread Serpent, so good at peeling, could be held on the tank here. And let's follow along with Navron to see exactly if we can get an overview of the battle. They go straight to the objective. Grumpy Bomb thrown out. Ovum disengaged already, takes a lot of damage from Skoses. And this is a good way to start things off, but Eevee's dropped immediately. The Ice Storm on the objective looks at the damage. Ovum throws in their Seismic Crash, but misses Cassie and gets shut down by Sorcerer. And once again, Bomb King might be the saving grace for this team of Gangstars, who are rolling ahead on the capture as King Bomb is channeled.
watching Paladins or the Matrix after that Cassie dodge. That looked like Cassie could see into the future. That was amazing.
I want to go back.
Gangstars are already up at 50%.
I want to see that in a slow-mo instant replay. I wish we had the functionality in spectator mode because that is kind of the perfect. It is a Matrix moment that you talked about. But now it's above 50%. It's 78%, 81 and rising for Gangstars. Holding the objective down is Navron, keeping Skozis alive. Nobody can get close. The beautiful stun onto unlimited power, but it's enough to set overtime. Through time and space doesn't hit everybody. Ovum gets onto the objective, but Cassie has their number, gets a shutdown. Madara, though, on Grok, finds a double kill, and here's the Tempest that we were talking about. The damage comes through, the healing as well. Ghostwalk immunes the stun from Grumpy Bomb, and down goes the healing totem, but it's one against the world, and only Genos remains now. Double kill for Saucer. Eevee blinks in. Rampage and Gangstars are holding this at 99%, but overtime keeps on ticking. It doesn't seem like this one is going to end, but eventually the numbers advantage comes through. 7 in a row for Saucer. Up into the air. MTZ, how long can they survive for? About that long, I think, as Saucer gets the kill to slam them into the ground, and Gangstars claim victory in game number 2.
B5 did a good job keeping the clock going, but they could only muster one at a time because of their respawns, and that's a losing effort. You're just never going to be able to recap it at that point, not without a lot of help from ultimates.
No, and let's look at this scoreboard right now. Again, the player that made the difference on the side of Gangstars, unexceptional. Talk to me about Saucer right here, because I am seeing some phenomenal numbers.
Let me start with 120,000 damage, and let me follow that with 23 kills, 18 assists, only 6 deaths. Sorsa really understood the matchup, understood the map, and just did
exactly what they needed to. They got the impact kills. And no overextension. I think we've got to land and really hand a lot of that only 6 deaths to Navron as well. 177,000 healing on Maldamba. Might I point out as well, non-bugged Maldamba, because we are post-hotfix now. That's impressive. Only 34,000 damage, but hey, it's a regular Maldamba this time around. 177,000 healing, though, comes from good coordination. It's Navron understanding how to heal to me, but it's also his allies understanding how to be healed. And I think that that is very important because Maldamba depends on line of sight. Unexceptional. You made the remark right at the start of this game that it really, like, Genos was a high priority pick on Brightmarsh because there are so many walls you can hide behind. How much of an advantage is that, do you think, for Genos over Maldamba in these situations if Maldamba needs to put themselves in danger to be able to see their allies to heal them?
On Brightmarsh, it's a huge advantage because you can literally be 2 buildings away and still put impactful healing onto your team. But Navron, I think you're right. His team was just more able to be healed. And I mean, Maldamba is always good. But yeah, the line of sight and accuracy is really the key too. Maldamba has like skill shot heals that are not easy to hit, especially for newer players. And Navron showing they are anything but a newer player with so much healing and so much impact on the healing. Really kept everybody alive.
Very impressive work from Navron. Very impressive work from the entirety of the Gangstars squad. And whilst there were players like Madara pulling out such incredible damage scorelines and doing some really good utility work for their team, B5 were just missing a little bit of that superstar potential, it looked like. The impact power wasn't there, and how much of that is actually dependent on Saucer, or how much of that is just dependent on the champion of Bomb King is something which I'd like to at least ask the audience about. Let me know in chat if you think that it's all about Saucer, or if you think the Bomb King was the real secret to success here for Gangstars. But heading through from this scoreboard, let's go back and take a look at the bracket for today and see how things have been updated. B5 versus Gangstars, it's a 2-0. Gangstars, of course, advanced through to the finals. Talk to me about our next matchup here, Unexceptional. We mentioned Handsome J or Handsome Jax versus Revital Gaming earlier, but what are we expecting from these two teams?
We're going to have a similar level of competition. You know, I'm not going to call a 2-0 or 2-1 any particular kind of way, but we just saw great gameplay come out of B5 and the Gangstars, and I think we got more of it coming. These are experienced, tenured players on both sides, and I'm really excited for these next matchups.
It'll be great to see exactly how that does go down then. So join us, Champions of the Realm. We're going to cut to a short break. We're going to change our commentary team up as well. Unexceptional, it's been a pleasure having you on the mic so far. We'll see you a little bit later, but the Absurd Gamer will be joining me for the next set between Handsome Jax and Revital Gaming. Once again, short break on the clocks as we do just get our commentators changed over, and we'll be back in just a moment with the lower bracket, or the right-hand side semi-finals of this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 29. Champions, welcome to this special episode of Paladins Top 5 Plays. The pros have gathered, battle has been done, but who'll claim glory for their team, and who will face defeat? 5 players are ready. Are you?
You will not collect any Dragon Balls.
Salvo down. Andrew Doodle rotates for the kill on Stonekeep and picks up their predator Lian with Fire Spit before turning on Barak and Maldamba. Grouped up, safety in numbers. I don't think so. Drogos has to reload, but Barak's days are still numbered. Easy triple. Fire Spit finds nobody, but the flick to Makoa denies all potential of push capture for Virtus Pro as Mouse Sports take control.
Just drop it.
Evil Eye is locked in for G2 Esports. Splitstone Quarry with Rave Mave, they keep the enemy trapped in spawn, whilst capture rises in G2's favor. In comes the aggression. Ash shoulder bashes past whilst protection shields Evil Eye from Lian. Hyper Beam sends them sailing though, denying the assert dominant stall, pounds the high ground, Lian is focused, but Androxus dashes in. Evil Eye prowls inside, fragging Barak in the process, almost perishes, but 9 lives reset, lets Pounce find the double. Prowl out again, and Lian is bamboozled by aerial trickery. Evil Eye holds on with tooth and claw.
Unfreaking believable.
Tulki weighs in third, their burst cannon heavy with a weight of responsibility. Set to defend, Ash descends into madness. 1v3 but retreats before Inara's advance. Seismic crash channel, Tulki responds with shoulder bash to shatter the stun warden. Around the corner, prowling through the air. No matter, there is no escape from the war machine. 3 members down, SK Gaming flee, and Tulki gives chase. Their explosive shots bring Makoa low enough for Random Noob to easily finish buying Team Envy time on defense.
Are we going to start fighting for real now?
Cybait, the spray master, rocks, and more importantly, rolls into second place this week. Long-range poke on Serpent Beach isn't unusual, but sensing opportunity, Cybait rolls in deep, looking to maintain pressure for Fnatic. Angles pre-aimed, a combo thrown out, Nade calls in Midnight, but Scout responds, and Cybait flings Torvald away. Follow-up shots are good, and they roll in, chasing Torvald and executing with Blast Shot. Void Grip ain't gonna stop the bloodbath here, and Ash and Shaolin are demolished without a chance. Only one left. Maeve tries to escape, and Prowl certainly momentarily keeps them safe, but they stall out and Cybait gives chase. One final dodge roll through, and the perfect anti-air bolt strikes home for the rampage. Ah, there's the spray.
Even a novice would wipe the floor with you.
Fishko hits it home in first place with Eevee. Has Blink air shot to Soul, finds 2 and as many shots. Another Blink on Ash. Is that a broom or a vacuum she's riding? Cause the cleanup crew is here. Makoa survives and is sought after, but Penta denied by Bugsy. Still, incredible mechanical skill. Thanks for watching. Want more Paladins esports? Head over to facebook.com/PaladinsGame and make sure to subscribe to our Paladins Premier League and Paladins Global Series show pages. You'll get notifications sent directly to you, including those for new shows, VODs of the games, and other exclusive content.
Just a smile and I am down below, and I try to breathe. Call you 7:22 a.m. Love the tone of your voice in the morning. I'm falling in love with you. promise I won't leave. Just a smile and I am down below. And I try to breathe. Call you 7:22 a.m. Love the tone of your voice in the morning. I'm falling in love with you. Send me a light to reach for love. When I think of you, I know the feeling. Dim the lights in this head for the weekend. I'm the only one you want. I'm the only one you want.
Welcome back then, champions, to this ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. This is Cup number 29 for the European region, the second qualifier cup, the open bracket format for the month of November, and we just saw Gangstars take a 2-0 victory over B5 in the left-hand side of the bracket, respectively, or upper bracket if you're looking at the ESL play bracket format for the semi-finals. Now we're onto the other side of the semi-finals, and it's Handsome Jacks versus Revital Gaming. Joining me on the mic this time around, well, unexceptional no more, it is the Absurd Gamer. How are you doing today?
Wow, I'm just doing amazingly. I had to wake up early this morning, as you were mentioning earlier, but you know, it's all in good favor because I love doing this.
It's going to be an interesting set today, I think. Handsome Jacks and Revital Gaming have, well, it's not a bit of history. There's a little bit that we can remark on with these teams. Handsome Jacks certainly have some veteran leadership ahead of them, but Revital Gaming, they're following a bit of a storyline which seems remarkably similar to old Flashpoint right now. And Flashpoint were a team which played a lot of community cups back in the day. They started moving on through, and then all of a sudden, members of Flashpoint, and in fact the entire team with a couple of roster changes, transitioned into becoming Virtus Pro, which is now playing in the PPL. This is a pretty big jump, but it just shows to you what sort of incremental improvement and step-by-step progress can do. But enough of that, because really the proof is in the pudding, and whether Handsome Jacks or Revital Gaming comes out on top is dependent on the individual players and their teamwork in-game. And where else can we start this off than the map draft? So let's go ahead and bring that up on screen right now. Absurd, tell me where we're going to be starting off today, but also what's taken out and maybe why these two teams don't want to see these specific maps.
Okay, so we're going to be starting off over on Stone Keep, a very highly favored map, probably not just one of my favorites, but overall an amazing map. Verticality is a huge part in play around into the Cathedral, but For the map bans, we're going to be taking away the Bright Marsh and the Frog Isle. One thing we do see a lot on Frog Isle is a 3-tank composition.
Okay, so on Frog Isle, it's definitely more akin to, we want to be able to stick here on this open objective, we're just going to out-bully you. But on Stone Keep, what kind of compositions do you think we might be seeing here instead?
I think we're gonna see a main focus around flankers and someone who can really control the backline. If we see someone such as an Eevee or an Droxus, I think that'll play very well into the map's verticality.
Oh, that'll be quite interesting there. And yeah, Stone Keep does have that nice little split. It also has a very open line of sights where you can maybe... We've seen a couple of snipers come out on here previously, but with the presence of flankers being so much more popular in the meta right now, I don't think that we're going to have the chance to see maybe the Bounty Hunter come out to play. With that in mind, though, there's only one place we can go from here, folks. Let's break down the champion draft for map number 1 of this set here on Stone Keep. And so far, it's Revital Gaming with the first ban. They take away Inara. Handsome Jax will respond with, the Makoa.
Okay, so they want to take the Makoa away. They saw last game and the game before that Makoa was such a deadly pickup, so Revital Gaming is going to go for the Terminus, a highly favored tank at the moment.
And that's just a good neutral pick. It's a very survivable one, but this does leave Torvald open for Handsome Jax right now. Quickly snapped up alongside Bomb King. We both saw how devastating that was in the hands of Saucer. I wonder if Handsome Jax have a Bomb King player of the equivalent caliber.
I hope that they do, because Sorsa was throwing out some major damage last time. Revital gonna pick up the Ruckus and the Shaolin, going for the extra damage, and also maybe going for an Aerial Assault Ruckus. I want to see that.
That'd be good still. I think that with Aerial Assault and Fuel Reserves 4, you can still reach the upper edges of Stone Keep, so it would be useful. But looking back towards Handsome Jax now, Maldamba, their support, prioritized instead of the Genos that we saw as the priority pick in the previous set, alongside Fernando leaving either a third frontliner or a last damage pick open.
Okay, so the Fernando is going to be able to do a ton of damage to the backline, but Revital Gaming picking up the Eevee and the Genos, so they're going for that flank pick, but also getting some blast damage onto their roster.
That's going to be valuable as well. Eevee's going to be able to maybe get into the backline, look at taking down Maldamba, or putting the pressure onto Bomb King. Got to be careful you don't get trapped out here, and here's the damage from Handsome Jax coming through for the last pick. It's a Cassie, and we know how much damage Big Game does, but impulse shots, if you fire off your full combo using two weapon shots, your blast shot and a disengage, you deal 2100, which is enough to kill Eevee very easily in a very short amount of time. I've got a bit of concerns for Revital Gaming here. I don't think that Eevee's going to be anywhere near as impactful as they might have wanted. What are your thoughts on this?
I think that Revital Gaming is playing around with the Eevee. They went for the pickup, but Handsome Jax, just they return picks with the Cassie and the Bomb King. Eevee's going to have a really hard time picking them off, especially if they focus and play around with the Maldamba. This might be a little bit of a hard game for Revital.
Revital will have to play this perfectly. Handsome Jax, it feels, with, the protection bubbles from Torvald as well as Fernando's Immortal, have some more of a buffer to make mistakes. But at this level of play, that's not something we want to see. Now, we have got a slight format change, and we will be swapping back to the map draft on screen momentarily, because I just want to break this down for anybody who might be interested and wondering why we're cutting back to a break. Because the way that we're sorting things out and we're synchronizing between myself specifically and the Absurd Gamer here on the back end of the broadcast today, we're going to be having a 2-minute break between the champion draft and the actual gameplay elements of this Handsome Jax vs Revital Gaming set. Please don't worry, it will not be any longer than that. We'll be back with gameplay before you know it. Just wanted to bring you some transparency and clarity there so nobody kind of wondered exactly what was going on. And with that in mind, 2 minutes on the clock. We'll see you back again for game number 1 on Stone Keep in just a second. Welcome back then, champions of the realm, to game number 1 here on Stonekeep between Handsome Jax and Revital Gaming. Revital Gaming actually on the left-hand side of your screen this time around, and of course, my name is Vox, joined by the Absurd Gamer here today. With 20 seconds to go, let's break down your team comps, and of course, starting on the left-hand side, it is Revital Gaming. Zeldus playing Desert Shadows Charlene. I am annoying with Undying Terminus. That's pretty fitting. Uber Spady with Wormhole Eevee. JB Zaz on Aerial Assault Rockers. Free Kill and Celestial Touch Genos. And please, Handsome Jax.
Of course, and for the Torvald Field Study Raptor, we see Nino taking the big game Cassie, Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, Scorched Fireball for skill, and La is going to be taking Chain Reaction Bomb Kick. Let's jump into it.
Following along initially, we can see Fernando go for that big Scorched Detonation. Holding the high ground is Terminus behind their Power Siphon, looks to make their way into the enemy backline, but has to Shadowfall away after receiving a lot of incoming damage, I think, from Bomb King. Initial point control goes slightly to the way of Revital Gaming, with Ruckus trying to flank around, but that's first blood as Skill Ganon loops back around towards them, and an overextension. Nina Sassler picks up a second kill, looks for now for Uber Spady, lands a little bit of poke here, but all the while it's actually keeping capture control, so Handsome Jax is starting to climb upwards and upwards on the point right now.
Yeah, so Revital definitely took the first point initiative, and they moved over with the Ruckus, but now they're getting the return poke, and with one pickup from Skill, we saw that Nino just rolling into the backline. He's doing an amazing job of throwing out the damage and keeping the skill point just everything pushed back.
Yeah, it's 75% rising right now, 81% and going up and going up. Eevee will try and flank around the peripheral, look to contest with Blink, does get on there, but oh my goodness, Lausmurf, that was beautiful. Traps the Blink casting location so they know that when Wormhole comes through, Bomb King gets an easy kill, and so far, again, this point just seems to be going all the way of Handsome Jax, even though they're now forced to retreat just a little bit.
Ooh, Revital Gaming is pushing back pretty well. Here we see Skill running back in, trying to hold that capture point down. Terminus moving onto the back line, throwing out so much damage. And we're going to see Revital Gaming trying to get a turnaround here.
They're looking to do something. Nina Sassler might be the solution here as they pick up JB Zaz. Disengage hits into Power Siphon, but I Am Annoying now is silenced out by the Nullify from Torvald. Blinking across is Eevee, but can't really get the poke onto Nina Sassler in order to kill them through time and space. Finds nobody, and this is all about Handsome Jax. Overtime is ticking. Eevee blinks in again, resets it briefly with Wormhole. That buys enough time for Ruckus to come back on through, but they're taking so much focus fire 1v4, and Handsome Jax get the capture pretty easily there at the end.
Revital was so split up, and they were just moving in one at a time. They were caught out, and this is where Revital knew that they had to move back, retreat. Handsome Jax take the initiative. Undying, or the reanimate comes out, and Torvald almost getting the hyper beam through.
I love that Shadowfall right at the end. They're just going up and up and up and up, but look at the disengage damage coming through from Nina Sassler right now. That big game paying off in dividends. 29,000 in 3 minutes and 20 seconds on the damage charts. This Cassie just dodge rolls straight into the Terminus, bypasses the Power Siphon, gets Ruckus. Beautiful play so far. Handsome Jax could push this through without any resistance.
This is looking like a dodge roll Cassie all over again, but she's taking the big game. So not only is she dealing damage, but also rolling into the backline. We see they're trying to stick onto the point. Revital is doing what they can to hold it. This is a great choke for them to sit here and just dish out a lot of damage. Hexafire comes through for Ruckus, though.
It doesn't find anybody because the Immortal coming out of Skill Ganon. Double kill for Skill as they push the Fireball down Eevee's throat. Inside of their Heat Haze is Charlene currently, but Skill Ganon just throws their Flame Lance around in a circle trying to find anybody. Dread Serpent to contest. Dread Serpent to finish this one off. Handsome Jax converts successfully in 4 minutes and 10 seconds. Let's go back to that Cassie loadout. I just noticed something there very interesting, and I want to talk about it. You said they're almost playing like a dodge roll Cassie. Look at Skywarden 2 and Excitement 2 in here. A lot of cooldown reduction on dodge roll from these two loadout cards.
Yeah, that is true. With the cooldown reduction, she can not only just move around into the backline, but also use the disengage with big game to just break down their health and break down the shields and everything there. So she's going to be very mobile at the same time, dishing out a ton of damage, which is kind of the new Cassie that we're seeing recently.
Oh yeah, big game has become a very, very favorite loadout for these players, but so far, Handsome Jax, they've pulled so far ahead that they've shut down the counter itemization from Revital Gaming, and moving into this second round, they're taking the high ground positioning. Handsome Jax try and look through time and space, finds nobody yet again. There's the gas pedal from Nino Sassler, and Eevee is already forced out.
Free Heal gets one as we're moving forward. Ice Storm is going to come out trying to disrupt this backline. Handsome Jax is just sitting here. They're a little caught out, but I'm Annoying is into the backline. He's going to get taken on by 3 at once. And Ruckus is trying to move on to the back or top side. 81% onto the payload. Revital is just sticking on here, but Handsome Jax is going to try to return it.
Revital Gaming are so far ahead in capture right now, but on the point is Maldamba, and Soretz is not being displaced. Look at Fernando's positioning, forcing up the front line. No way for anybody to make their way through. Eevee's trying to contest and keep this payload in overtime, but she's getting poked out very rapidly as well. And now Handsome Jax, as you said, they're in even more control, and Hyper Beam and King Bomb are ready as well. Revital have no ultimates to try and break this.
They're trying to do what they can to hold on, and they're sitting here on the payload still. Revital has to touch it 1.93% and ticking. Terminus gets on it, but King Bomb comes in to disrupt this backline. Moving forward, Terminus is going to fall here. Still, 2 picks taken out. Revital is going to fall into the end, and Handsome Jax take it up for themselves.
That should be the capture coming through. Can't count it out until it's over. It ain't over till the fat lady sings, but Handsome Jax with the capture. 3-0 already versus Revital Gaming. They are swinging. Revital showed a lot more signs of fight that last round, but again, just weren't able to hold ultimates in the tank, and we saw how effective it is when you're running King Bomb into, well, nothing to respond.
Yeah, with this, I mean, Ruckus and Terminus, all they can do is sit onto that point and try to hold it and capture down, but King Bomb will disrupt this backline, and this is where Handsome Jax, through the drafting phases we talked, really came out on top. Hyper Beam coming through, throwing that Terminus off the map. Get out of here, buddy.
That's a really big kill there as well. Terminus with Undying, their legendary, is so tanky, so survivable. If you can get them off the map, and if you can get those environmental kills, you eliminate all of that survivability immediately. But Go Zig, says Cassie, in response to the heat haze coming through from the Charlene, immediately reveals, and it's up for the reanimation now from I Am Annoying to try and hold this down. They respawn, double kill though, as the damage rips through all of their opponents. Out comes the Calamity Blast as well, looking for damage on Lauswamp, who is able to disengage, and it's only Fernando left standing. Skillganon has nowhere to go. Handsome Jax have met their match, and Revital Gaming hold on, but there's 1 minute and 15 seconds left on the push, and the payload is 95% of the way through.
Amazing reanimate by I Am Undying. I mean, he really is undying on this point, and he really shows through, getting a double kill. This is where Handsome Jax are going to try to retake this point. They have 58 seconds, and they're trying to push and take it down. Ruckus is holding on pretty well. Pretty aggressive though on this front line.
Yeah, but Skillganon's up there too, and Skill with their shield is able to provide a lot of shielding and a lot of protection for their allies. Hold that thought. In comes Eevee, drops the Ice Storm, looking to separate Skillganon, but around from behind. Cassie's looking for the damage here, off to one peripheral side of the Stone Keep choke point, and now turns their attention back towards I Am Annoying. Zelda contests momentarily, throws out the 1000 damage shots, but again, Cassie's just forcing her way through, and it's difficult for I Am Annoying to try and contest versus this Cassie who can deal so much of their health as percentage-based damage with this big game legendary.
And she is just ripping through these backlines, as you're saying, throwing out the damage, and the rest of Revital Gaming has to retreat away from here, getting poked down. One thing that Handsome Jax can do really well, Terminus jumping in there, not even being afraid of them.
And no, and up on the high ground, Skillganon's still here, just hit a triple fireball with the Scorched Legendary, moves in, looks to backdoor this one. We're in overtime right now, and Handsome Jax are holding on. Here comes the Immortal, looking for the damage. Out comes the Dread Serpent as well, and Free Kill is immobile inside there through time and space. Gets taken out. Skillganon with 280 health stays alive, gets a last shut down, but Lausmurf pulls out a triple kill, looks for the quadra kill. Uber Spadey's the last one left remaining, but the Poppy Bomb displacement, is it enough? And yes, it is! Uber Spadey gets thrown away, and that knockback pushes Handsome Jax through to victory in Game 1.
Wow, I have to give it fully over to Handsome Jax. Not only was their drafting phase phenomenal when coming out into this game, but looking through their whole entire composition, they played it to their best objective. They played it to their skill set, and this is just amazing. That's all I can say.
It's such a beautiful performance right there at the end. Talked about last set how certain team compositions, when working well together, it's like a symphony. And that's exactly what we saw this time. The gas pedal hit at the right point, I think, right at the end there as well. Skillganon making sure they contest and put the payload into overtime, as the frontline who's able to hold it with Immortal for a while was important, but this opened up the possibility for Lausmurf to do big work on Bomb King. And 3 kills and then a final displacement to get the payload through. No small order by any means. let's turn our attention, although away from Handsome Jacks, back to Revital Gaming. They didn't seem to really be able to establish a solid foothold on defense here. What could they have done differently in order to be able to hold on more?
There were a lot of aggressive times where they seemed to push up. Terminus was a huge pick by I Am Annoying, and one thing that I really saw the Terminus doing was moving forward at sometimes the wrong positions or the wrong times. It looked like he really forgot that Torvald had a silence and that he couldn't escape from that silence, and that really shut Annoying down the whole time. One thing that Raptor did amazingly. So if they brought back the pressure a little bit, waited for Zelda to poke down, waited for Uber Spady to get some poke initially before they engaged or tried to look for the defense, that probably could have turned the tides on this game.
Less about the draft then and more about the execution, but from one game we do move through to the next. As you can see on your screens right now, the map draft is available. Handsome Jacks take the first map on Stone Keep, and Serpent Beach is the location for the next performance. Now, I gotta ask you here, we've seen, absurd, 2 sets in a row now, Bomb King be a driving force in these sets for both teams. First of all, played by Saucer for Gangstars, now played by Lousmurf again. I don't know who is first pick this time around for Handsome Jacks versus Revital Gaming, but do you think Bomb King will be as heavily prioritized on the map Serpent Beach here as they were on Stone Keep?
Well, they have been prioritizing around the Bomb King a lot. As we saw into the first game of the series today, Bomb King just has been shining through, and he has been a huge damage charts character. Not only that, but he brings a lot of disruption into the tanks and onto the objective control, which is being played around a lot during this patch. Now, as we move on to Serpent Beach, I think that he will be a little less prioritized and more focused around something such as an Androxus or maybe even back onto the Cassie, as they have a lot of disruption to the backline.
Ooh, I'd love to see a Cassie again after the efficacy of Big Game has really been demonstrated, but will anybody have the opportunity, or maybe some other picks will take priority on this map of Serpent Beach? I think we speculated for long enough. Let's head straight on through to our champion draft for today, and as Revital Gaming have first pick. Oh, okay, so Bomb King won't even be available this game. They say it's so much of a problem, we're just going to take it away.
They don't want it. Nope,
No.
Let's just get rid of it. Okay, well, over onto the side of Handsome Jacks, they're going to take the Mako away as well, still seeing him as a huge threat with the pluck and everything else that's coming through. Anara onto the side of Revital, trying to get that point control once again.
And so, let's take a look. Torvald and then Ruckus picked up for Handsome Jacks, making sure that they get their front line online. You know, Torvald is a champion who has been reported by a lot of high-level players to be heavily punished by Ruckus, because Ruckus has the extra mobility and can get away and consistently damage out Torvald. I like this draft together, but that's a lot of damage potential and a great deal of survivability from Revital with Inara, Charlene, and Terminus now as well.
So, Revital's going straight for the point control. They know they can pick it up, and with the Bomb King banned away, hey, Handsome Jacks, their only return really for blast damage is going to be the Drogos, but as we see, they're picking up the Cassie, they're picking up the Maldama because they want the extra damage to follow through with that, and Torvald and Cassie might work out really well together.
So, let's take a look then. Terminus picked up, of course, for Revital Gaming previously. Now it's Eevee Genos. The Genos pick makes sense. It's your other top tier support right now. Eevee, again though, after not doing as much work as perhaps they should have done last round, it's curious to see the kind of like, let's stick with this, but hey, it's Serpent Beach, a lot of verticality, a lot of room for movement. Maybe the Eevee works here, and you mentioned the Drogos. Look what's just come out as the last pick for Handsome Jacks.
Well, it looks like Handsome Jacks are going to take up the Drogos. One thing I want to say over is that Revital has the counter to Drogos. Shaolin does an amazing job of picking Drogos out of the air, but the issue is that they picked up the Eevee a little bit too early, or as they were into the final draft set, they really couldn't choose anything else around it. I think the Androxus would have been a better pick, seeing as they were mainly taking Handsome Jacks and putting them into a position to play Drogos.
Hindsight is 20/20, right? And whether Revital Gaming's Charlene is going to be enough to really withstand the incoming pressure from Drogos and deal with the airborne Lord of the Skies here, or if Handsome Jacks have just outdrafted their opponents, well, we're yet to see. Once again, as we did just mention in the previous set, we'll have 2 minutes on the clock between this champion draft and the game beginning. We'll be back in just a moment, and let me know in chat in the meantime who you think pulled out the draft which will drive their team to victory. Welcome back then, champions. The ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup set between Handsome Jacks and Revital Gaming in the semi-finals. With Handsome Jacks taking Stone Keep, we're on to Serpent Beach for game number 2. Revital Gaming is still fighting out the blue side. Myself and Absurd Vox, of course, on the mic will be leading you through here. And JB Zads leads in, Revital Gaming with Treacherous Ground and Nara. Zelda with Desert Shadows Charlene follows up. I'm Annoying with Undying Terminus. Uber Spade with Wormhole Eevee and Freak Kill with Celestial Touch Genos to start.
And over onto the side of Handsome Jacks, we see big game Cassie for Nino. We see Spirit's Chosen Mal down the field study, Torvald, Flux Generator for the Ruckus, and finally Fusilier Drogos.
Hello, Fusilier Drogos is an unusual one. So many players are used to running the Wormjet's Legendary right now at the highest level of competitive play, valuing movement right over everything, but will the lack of movement really be enough for Lousmurf to survive? With their basic movement speed, hell, even Eevee can probably get some air shots onto them if they've got good enough aim. I'm a little bit concerned here.
Yeah, I think he definitely should have gone for the Wormjets, seeing as Eevee is a huge contested pick and throws out a lot of damage. But as we're moving on to the point, a lot of damage is coming through. Great Fire Spit to disrupt this middle line.
And that might be just the angle that they're looking for with Fusilier right here. The bonus damage hits do swing, and onto an immobile frontliner. Currently, like Inara, that might be what's necessary, but it's overtime. 99% to Revital Gaming. Handsome Jacks are only just now finding their way in, contesting briefly, but still Revital Gaming hold control of this objective, hold control of this area for the time being, and a shutdown kill on Surette here by Uber Spady could be big. Skill Ganon goes down for the double. Revital Gaming have overtime ticking, and with nobody able to contest, this should be their capture for free.
As the caster, I'm supposed to be the one watching the scoreboard and the time ticking down. They stuck it past even me. I wasn't even watching, and they got 99% when I was just trying to focus on the gameplay. So that's something huge. Revital take up the first point, and we see that Handsome Jacks are trying to do what they can to defend out the point here.
And so let's take a quick look at the damage charts as well. And Handsome Jacks, they did a lot of work with their Fusilier Drogos in the previous round, but all that damage was just healed up very easily so far by Genos, and as a result, no objective control came through. What is coming through right now, though, is Scout from Cassie. Big through time and space as well, doesn't connect onto anybody, and Handsome Jacks at last are finding some footwork here. Double kill for Nino Sassler, looking for the triple kill. Dodge roll through, puts them towards Terminus. Nice disengaged, bonus damage hitting, 667 shots onto the Undying stone person thingy. Stalag, I think it is. Something like that.
Something around there. But anyways, the Terminus is going to fall for that.
I swear you just... I'm getting confused myself. I just thought you said tiramisu. Like, I'm pretty sure they're not a put. Can we get a Terminus tiramisu skin, please?
Oh, yeah. I would... Of course. I would love that. All right. Well, Handsome Jack is taking the initiative. They're sitting onto the top, throwing out the damage. Cassie's missing a few shots here and there, but they're trying to do what they can. We see Revital Gaming going in from the side, trying to take up one pick, and it looks like Cassie's a little caught out.
Oh, nice Void Grip as well. Nina Sassler gets shut down by Freak Heal. Engaging right now, slamming down their axe in Shatterfall is I Am Annoying, and Annoying no more. They're flat out dangerous right now. Beautiful Power Siphon blocks the incoming damage from Ruckus. Another great Void Grip means that Freak Heal can secure the kill on the Skill Ganon. 46 seconds remaining. Payload is at 3/4 of the way through right now, and Handsome Jacks have to wait for the respawns to get out of base.
Ooh, this is the chokehold that Handsome Jacks need to initiate on. They need to get onto this point and try to hold it out, and it looks like they're going to do just that. Revital Gaming has to back up, wait for some pickoffs, wait for some damage to come through, and they're sitting just waiting.
They can't really move any further forwards without some healing going on to players like Uber Spady, and just waiting for, as you said, the opportunity to strike. 18 seconds remaining. Fusilier keeps them poked out a little bit. Freak Heal's trying to move in, but Dragon Punch is ready for Lousmurf. Could be a really good move here to execute damage onto Inara if necessary through time and space channeled, but JB Zaz falls before they even are able to get their ultimate off. This is big for Handsome Jacks on defense.
JB Zaz still has that ultimate available if they need to disrupt it, but Handsome Jacks are able to take the defense successful for themselves. Great job. It looks like Revital just step off the point there, and that was a little bit of a downfall, but great job for Handsome Jacks.
You know, it's one of the situations which we saw, I think, exactly like that in the first game, first set. Terminus has to contest the objective, but if you want to deal damage as Terminus, you've got to walk up to people, so you're at this horrible catch-22 of I either stand here and get shot, or I lose the objective and manage to swing my axe into somebody, and I'm Annoying. Well, they're taking the damage route so far. They're also taking the nimble too. Let's look at itemization right now, because there's some curious picks coming through from Revital Gaming.
Okay, so the Nimble 2 for Annoying is going to work really well with Terminus. He's able to chase down enemies and just pick them off. As we can see for the loadout, he's just going to be gaining health, gaining more and more, not really looking for the ground to be gained, but also wants to increase the Shatterfall distance just a little.
And what's important there, I think, is also its wait 4 as well. So when they channel Power Siphon for 4 seconds, look at that. 4 in Calamity Blast, but here comes Dragon Punch. That gets the shutdown from Lousmurf. Reanimate comes through, though, from I Am Annoying. Gets the kill on a Skill Cannon. Oh, that was nasty there. Revital Gaming are already at 60% and climbing on the objective.
Great job by the Reanimate for Revital Gaming. I mean, I Am Annoying just putting himself in a perfect position and playing around the Waterfall so well. 87% taken up, and Revital Gaming are almost taking this from themselves.
And what's really important here is it is 99%, but Handsome Jackson managed to close the gap back through. Hexifire's popped, but hello? Power Siphon? That's not even a shield you could break down if you had Wrecker. That's just going to absorb all of your damage, and it's up to Handsome Jax to try and contest. Skill Ganon is here. A free kill gets brought very, very low, and Zelda gets revealed from stealth as well. Easy kill for Surette. Handsome Jax are back in control of this objective, and at 99%, Revital Gaming have met their match and are forced backwards.
They're turning it around once again as we see the damage coming through. Handsome Jack's trying to stick onto this objective, but they have only one ultimate available for Cassie. We look at the damage charts, and it's just running through huge. Anar's going in with the Seismic Crash, though.
Really importantly there as well, Nina Sassler used Scout to try and immune some of that crowd control coming through, but still got hit by Terminus. And now Handsome Jax are losing members. 3 down for Handsome Jax, 3 remain for Revital Gaming, and here's the Heat Haze from Charlene. Zelda looking for the kills. Beautiful Impale. That's the setup and pass that you're looking for from your Inara players. And 99% ticks over. Revital Gaming still hold control and go up 2-1.
Amazing aim by Zelda, getting that stun into the wall, and with that, Revital's able to pressure up once again. They still have the full time to tick down, and they still are going to move on to the objective and run up some very aggressive positions.
Oh, Zelda does end up perishing towards the end there. Skill Ganon's holding the front line pretty well for Handsome Jax right now, although they've been crippled by Inara's water field. 2 minutes on the payload push. There's a lot of time to try and get this one through, and a third of the gap closed already is by no means a bad thing. Dragon Punch, though, will definitely take some of the momentum away from Revital Gaming here. And I like Handsome Jax choosing to just say, look, we've got a lot of time. Let's use the ultimates now. Let's make sure that we're in control.
Especially with the Dragon running at Last Smurf, he's going for the morale boost too already, so he's going to get that ultimate back very quickly. We see Propel is going to increase his forward momentum by thrust, so that's one thing that people are going to play off of. Instead of taking up the whole Worm Jets situation, he's just going to go for the forward momentum.
And is looking for that to be the distance maker that's really necessary. Revital Gaming have respawned, looking for the engage here, trying to come around from the left side of this attack perspectively, right side of the attack, sorry, left side of the defense. Planted comes through from Zelda, doesn't really find anybody here, but now JV Zaz is providing zone on the front line of this fight with Waters Field. I'm Annoying is back, and Revital Gaming is slowly making ground, but Handsome Jax have disengaged in a way which doesn't put them in a vulnerable spot, which I really like.
They're making ground, and treacherous ground is going to be something that they have to fight against. Revital Gaming is still moving forward. Uber Spady is caught out just a little, but is going to get out of there alive.
Not for much longer, though. Around comes Cassie, and this is a pincer flank, which you don't want to deal with. Uber Spady is the one that has to try and deal with them, and Eevee gets the Blink Bamboozlement. There's the kill. 35 seconds left, and forced to use Dread Servant. Our Handsome Jax. Out comes Hyper Beam as well, but the Impasse blocks it all off, and Ice Storm to convert. This could be all that is necessary if Uber Spady can find the kill on the Skill Ganon here. Void gripped into the air. Zelda shuts down Surette, and now the damage keeps on flowing. Oh my goodness, Revital Gaming pushed through. Nina Sassler was too far away on dodge roll and got killed after the round ended regardless.
Wow. So Revital are able to take an aggressive stance. They look through the whole entire point and push it. Moving down, we see that I Am Annoying is already taking Resilience too. Not only does he not want to be caught out by the Dread Serpent or the Silence by Torvald, he just wants to keep moving forward, and Resilience 3 is picked up.
There we go. That's just a lot of crowd control reduction as well. So important and impactful when Terminus relies on being able to shield damage to their team, and I think you hit the nail on the head there. Nullify, very, very big issue at dealing with that.
For the rest of the side of Revital, they're taking up Cauterize 3 for Uber Spady, who's going to want to deny the damage from Maldamba. And over to the side of Handsome Jax, they're only running Cauterize 2 at most, except for Ninu, who has the Cauterize 3. But other than that, she's not going to be able to play around with too much.
Oh, hold that thought now. We've got to go back in again as Seismic Crash was just used. Bringing out the big guns was Skill Cannon briefly, but Uber Spady has their number and says, call me later, Ruckus, back to base with you for the time being. Zelda gets the shutdown to Nino Sassler. So far, Revital Gaming are in control of this objective as Uber Spady lands a long distance shot onto Surretts, but here we go. Dragon Punch connects. Reanimate comes through. The air shot, will it connect onto Lousmith as well? No, they get away for the time being, but Zelda finishes the kill. Revital Gaming come out on top, 57% and climbing.
Lousmurf is now staggered out from the rest of the group, and that's one issue that Handsome Jax is going to have to deal with. 75% and ticking up for Revital Gaming. They're trying to do what they can to touch this objective and hold on to it, but Handsome Jax is going to move in somewhat, getting one pick off for Raptor.
So far, it's all been about Uber Spady on this objective right now, and they're looking for more damage. Very mobile, but 37 health remaining. Blink takes him to safety. Flicker heals them momentarily. Revital Gaming re-engage, but JD Zaz is very low, and Impasse will be the thing that saves their life right now. Overtime is ticking once again. Surretts moves in with their slither. They get shut down by Free Kill, and again, Revital Gaming look to hold this as a double kill comes through thanks to Void Grip. Overtime takes one last time, potentially. Torvald can't quite get there, and that's Revital Gaming with a comeback play.
Great job, Revital, really turning this game around into their favor. We saw in the first game that they had a hard time defending out this point, but when moving on to this game, it looks like they didn't even need to defend. The whole point was they wanted to aggress onto the team. As their composition just shows, Uber Spady is really throwing out the damage with 61k. It may not be the top of the charts, but still a huge playoff when playing against a Drogos that's going to be airborne most of the time.
And I feel like the really important thing with Eevee as well is that your damage category specifically, this isn't just Eevee, this is flanks versus damage in general. Damage is good at dealing consistent damage from range. They're what breaks down the frontliners, but flanks, their damage is effective. They want to get in, their damage has to kill, otherwise they're going to end up dying themselves. So Uber Spady demonstrating that it's effective damage that they're dealing here. Zelda, sure, they got a lot of planted off, but how much of that is breaking down shields? How much of that is dealing damage in the frontliners, not securing kill shots? The slash line at 11, 5, and 13, well, surprisingly little of it actually, but looking towards the side of Handsome Jax, really solid game 1, 4-0. Game 2, 4-1 right here, if I'm not mistaken. Just the turnaround is very different. What went wrong for them here? Was it draft? Was it execution?
I think the draft was really set up well by Handsome Jax, but the execution was played out a little sloppy. When we came into the game, I saw La Smurf going for the direct and the Fusillade, which is going to be an amazing card when you're dishing out damage onto a Genos or onto a Terminus, but Terminus is going to be just sitting there soaking up not only damage, but also trying to use that aggressive reversal and soaking in so much with that, that La Smurf. Also, when I saw the Drogos ultimates come through, they were always onto the Terminus who had Reanimate available.
Always got to try and be mindful of that as well. If Terminus hasn't used Reanimate within the last 30 seconds, it's probably up and available, and you've just got to be careful with that. With that in mind, well, last game we said, okay, Bomb King did it for Handsome Jax. This game for Revital, it seems to be a combination of Terminus and Eevee. Moving into the next map, which will be coming up on your screens right about now, let's have a look and see where we're going. Jag Falls, so really compact. Do you still ban the Bomb King if you're Revital and try and get, you know, the Terminus or the Eevee here, or do you think that those will be taken away by Handsome Jax?
Onto a map like Jaguar Falls, this might be a Bomb King ban away once again. I want to see a little bit something different from the Makoa ban, because even though Makoa is a very nice pick, I find that Terminus has been rocking through the Rift right now, and if he's going to be picked up once again, I think that might just be the downfall for whomever.
Are you punning me? Are you punning me again on cat? This is... I've lost my edge. I have lost my edge right now. I'm letting you slip by me. You know what? We'll come back. We'll have talks after this cast. I swear. I'm going to start reading. I'm going to get my little book out again. I'm going to start writing these down. But for the time being, let's hit the draft. It's map number 3. It's Jag Falls, all tied up 1-1. Revital Gaming have the first pick again. Will it be the... Oh, there it is. His Majesty.
There it is. Yep.
No more. The Bomb King taken off the table.
Just get it out of here. We're done. But the Shaolin, in return for the ban onto the side of Handsome Jax, it looks like they don't want to deal with that long-range poke and the extra damage coming out. But Revital pick up the Inara.
Well, it's also, you got to remember, Jag Falls has a lot of corners, a lot of places where Impaler Arrow is super effective, but oh dear. So, you know, we talked about Makoa and Terminus being very strong, but maybe Makoa isn't ban-worthy. Well, it wasn't banned, and with Inara first pick, that gives Terminus and Makoa to Handsome Jax. That's terrifying.
That is terrifying. If Makoa can get the pull in, then Terminus is just going to run a train through them. So Handsome Jax already looking at their draft is amazing. But Revital try to turn it around with the Torvald Maldamba pickup.
Let's see what comes in now. Handsome Jax, Eevee, and Janus to follow. So taking the Janus early, leaving their last pick open. They've already got a useful flanker in here, and I like the fact that they're stripping that away from Uber Spady. Revital Gaming are going to have to find a way around it this time. Drogo's picked up again. Wasn't so effective in the last game, but might do the damage here, maybe with Combustible on a compact map. And I like the Dragon Punch kill potential versus Makoa and Terminus, but talk to me about Lian.
Lian, what a strange pickup. I didn't think that I was going to see her come through, but on a map like Jaguar Falls, she doesn't have the range, so she's probably going to go for something like Alacrity, running through a lot of damage and throwing out the Cauterize, just trying to pick up, but Handsome Jax, a Talus.
Okay, and this has probably been taken up to get the kill potential onto the backline, which is really necessary here. I quite like the Talus pickup at taking out Lian. They're relatively safe as well on Jaguar Falls, but again, we're lacking a typical and traditional style damage dealer for Handsome Jax here. And if I'm not mistaken, Cassie was available, so it's interesting to see them going with double flank and to really figure out how this works. Give me your thoughts then. I've got to ask you, Absurd, who are you giving it to? Revital, Handsome Jax, and why?
I want Revital to take it. I want to see the undominant tanks. Even all tanks right now are doing pretty well, but I want to see the Lian and Drogos run through the rest of Makoa and Terminus. So I'm going to give it over to Revital.
Ooh, interestingly enough, I think I've got a root for Handsome Jax then, if that's the case, but only because I say Makoa is OP and I don't want to see them on my ranked games anymore. Get them away from me. They chased me all the way around the map. But that's enough of personal experiences.
Of course.
We'll be back in just a couple of minutes, folks. Don't go anywhere. Game number 3 starting on Jaguar Falls in just a couple of minutes.
Take your time and do your tricks. All I do is sing along. Yeah, I need you around for brighter light and firmer ground. When you believe in me, love is gonna set me free.
It all comes down to this, champions. We are in game number 3 of this semi-final set between Handsome Jax and Revital Gaming, coming to a close here on Jaguar Falls. Of course, still on the mic is myself, Hi-Rez Vox, joined by the Absurd Gamer. Let's go ahead and break down these legendary choices this time around, starting off with Revital Gaming as they draft Field Study Torvald for I Am Annoying, Zelda with Precision Lian, Freak Hill on Spirit's Chosen Maldamba, JV Zaz on Treacherous Ground Inara, and Uber Spady this time. There's the Worm Jets Drogas we were looking for.
We all love it, but over onto the side of Handsome Jax, we see Nino taking Rage and Demon Talus, Wormhole Blink for La Smurf, Pluck Makoa onto Raptor Skill, Ganon taking the Undying Terminus, and Surets taking Celestial Touch Genos.
So looking initially, Salvo goes down, a little bit of that blocked by the Power Siphon coming through from the Terminus, excuse me, but oh, JB Zaz is hoisted up in the air, protected by Torvald. JB Zaz picks the first blood onto Lao Smurf, and Eevee's going to struggle this game around if they blink straight into a treacherous ground Inara. That's not what you want to do to try and secure a kill.
Not at all. She was out of position there and moved down to the front line to start off this game, which was a little bit different. But Nino is taken up into the back line. He's a little caught out, and 75% already onto the side of Revital.
That's a lot for Revital. That demonstrates the power of Inara. We asked, why would you give Makoa and Terminus a 3-to-1 team? Well, Inara with the impasse was able to block off any chance of retake, and that's exactly why. Staying power and the cripple legendary of Treacherous Ground wins that capture outright. And now Handsome Jax are looking to potentially get this push started, but they're still taking a lot of damage in the process.
Handsome Jax is trying to turn this around once again. They're sitting here, great hooking by Makoa, and they're able to take this choke pretty well onto the first point and first hold. So they're sitting here, they have 2 pickoffs, and they're trying to do what they can to hold it.
Yeah, double kill for Nino Sassler helps that out. And now with Rune of Travel down, they're looking to go in with their overdrive right now. There we go. Straight back to safety. And again, that's the danger of going anywhere near Inara. Nino Sassler can get out of Treacherous Ground, but only after the time elapses fully on the cooldown of their Rune of Travel. This is a really dangerous setup for Handsome Jax to play into.
La Smurf is trying to do what he can to move around to this back line, and I really like the Eevee Talus combo coming through as they're able to pressure out the back line, even though that La Smurf might be falling here as moving a little too far into the back line. We see a Dragon Fury come through.
And Dragon Punch looking to connect right now, can just about find Raptor at the end of its tether, so at least that kill was utilized, and now momentum starts to swing back in the favor of Revital Gaming. Look at the movement speed on Uber Spady climbing up that path. I'm going to look at Torvald's loadout real fast. There it is, Wind Dancer 4.
Yep.
New diminishing returns, Nimble, Worm Jets on Drogos. This dragon is a speedy lizard right now.
He wants to be into this back line, and he wants to throw out the damage, but gets killed and caught out. Seismic Crash pushed into the back line. Nara's going in with a 1v3 as in return, Eevee's going to throw down Presence, keeping the Leon alive.
The problem is just nothing was really gained from that Seismic Crash there. There was a couple of stuns, but now Handsome Jax being able to respond fully, and with 32 seconds left, one more push potential really coming through. Handsome Jax are being zoned very heavily, and Revital Gaming, or excuse me, Handsome Jax are zoning very heavily. Revital Gaming, I can't see them getting back into this without maybe using a Dread Serpent to engage, and that's a risky bit of business there.
It is a risky business indeed, because if they have to pop these ultimates, then it might just be the downfall for Revital. Wanting to push this payload, great hook in by Makoa, trying to get the extra damage, but Handsome Jax seem to be falling here. They're falling low and having to retreat away from this point.
Losing their members, Lao Smurf had 15 health left, blinks to get the flicker heal and goes to engage, keeping the pressure up. I'm Annoying takes a ton of damage though. Lao Smurf gets the kill. Dread Serpent was just utilized by Revital Gaming to try and keep it going, but they're down to just 3 members. Lao Smurf gets the trade out there alongside Lian, and deep in the backline, Ninu Sasseril is looking for blood. There's the punch coming through. JB Zaz left contesting, but it's 1 versus the world, and Inara falls. Overtime ticks down. That's the defense successful.
Great job for Handsome Jax. Even through the Dread Serpent and all, they were able to hold on and sustain throughout that chokehold. What they really utilized there was just their team fighting position-wise, working with the Makoa and the Terminus. They worked around it so well that I find Skill Ganon is, with the Nimble, moving onto the backline so easily, even with Uber Spady, excuse me, moving and running the Nimble too, able to utilize Worm Jets to their best advantage. It's really hard for him to be picked off.
Right, and now moving into this next round as well, Handsome Jax with a successful defense, they also have the ultimate advantage moving into this. I'm Annoying has Hyper Beam available. That's the only ult currently charged for Revital Gaming. I'm a little bit concerned they could be swept by Handsome Jax. True Power is available. Nina Sassler, though, not going for the dismount, might actually instead choose that to finish somebody off, and they look to engage directly onto this Drogos.
Eevee's moving onto the back line with the help of Ninu into there, looking for an Ice Storm. Seismic Crash breaking out the team fight here, and the rest of the team is going to fall.
Oh, this is beautiful as well. Nino Sassler gets the full clip. In fact, the overdrive, which doesn't have with Raging Demon an ammo requirement, emptied into the back of Torvald, shutting down the Hyper Beam. Revital Gaming got 30% on the objective, but now Handsome Jacks are in control. This is where it becomes dangerous for Revital as well. How do you engage into a Makoa and an Eevee like this?
It is so hard for Vital to get onto this point and onto this objective. 81% and ticking up, excuse me. True Power jumping in there. Nino trying to get any damage to disrupt this backline, but Leon's looking for the enlightenment, just trying to keep the team at bay.
And that's really important there, because whilst Nino Sassler was taking down Free Kill, sure, it's the support down, but back onto the objective, Zelda was able to help secure it for the team. JB Zaz is very low. Zelda's looking for the damage, finds Raptor as well. That's massive, but Lousmurf takes out the frontliner who was contesting for the side of Revital Gaming. Now they have no more members who can keep up this payload push, can keep up the contest. Drogos is forced to go in, and Nino Sassler finds a triple kill in response. This is devastating for Revital Gaming. No way to get back to the point. Handsome Jacks capture, and now they lead 2-1 at 6 minutes and 50.
Amazing use of true power by Nino, just throwing out the extra damage, getting the pickoffs when needed, and Drogos is moving forward. We see that Revital Gaming is going to have to hold this point, and it's going to be a hard hold indeed.
It's very difficult, but what I think that Revital Game have going for them right now is defensive pressure so long as they don't overextend. But the problem is Raptor's trying to force the fight. Look at them deep in the enemy backline, forcing out Zelda. Now JB Zaz in the middle of Ancient Rage. Dread Anchored comes through, pulls Inara out of safety, and now that should be an easy kill onto the Stone Warden, and that's not how you play your defensive power. That is displacement from Handsome Jacks, and now that's the advantage at over halfway pushed.
Wow, what we saw there was they were looking for the combo between time and space and a hookup through Makoa. They didn't exactly find it, but Inara was so picked off that it was such an amazing play out. Uber Spady is going to take down Nino as he over-aggresses onto this point.
And that was really important there, because Dragon Punch can now be used. That's going to one-shot Makoa. Terminus still alive, is about to be taken down as well. Power Siphon's buying time, but the payload's almost through with 1 minute and 20 seconds left on this clock.
Vital trying to hold it at all costs. They're sitting here, they're getting back onto the point very well, and I'm Annoying is just throwing out the damage, pushing onto the backline. Revital might fall here, and that is a payload sticking down 1% away.
Very close to conversion. Last person contesting is Zelda, but again, I've used the phrase one against the world a lot in that situation, but when you're playing against a Makoa and a Terminus and you're just a Leon, it's one against the universe at that point. There is nothing you can do. Great push for Handsome Jacks. They now lead 3-1. Revital Gaming have got to come out with a capture here, because this game sends one of these two teams through to today's finals.
And I want to look over at the item pickups for Raptor. He's already having Cauterize 3 for Makoa, which is huge, but also La Smurf has Cauterize 3 as well. So they're going to be negating almost all healing coming out by Free Kill.
I think coming into this as well, Handsome Jacks did a great job with their ultimates last round at really controlling the pace of the fight. This time though, Revital Gaming do have the advantage, but will this Dread Serpent and Enlightenment combo, will that be enough, do you think, to win the point?
We will see it come through, but I don't know if it will be. Looking as a great hooking from Makoa moving forward. They're trying to take this a point and initiative. Terminus is already onto the backline, getting some extra damage off for Revital.
Big Dread Serpent comes through, but unfortunately no capitalization. Eevee goes in onto the backline there, actually back onto the point with Ice Storm. Gets the Rampage as Lousmurf finds Free Kill, big kill, Maldama down. Blink straight onto Lian. Enlightenment comes through, but they miss both of the casting location and Eevee's actual location there, and Lousmurf still cleans up the kill. 51% and climbing. Handsome Jacks are holding this one down, and Giannis is sitting pretty. Surratt's ready to zone with through time and space if necessary, but why does he retreat as Inara engages?
Inara was onto the backline. She had the horse available through time and space as Pomp trying to disrupt this team, but great Hyper Beam almost pushes off. There we go. Terminus is just out of there. Can't reanimate that.
No, and that's really important actually, because you know Torvald didn't get the kill credit there for the kill on the scoreboard, but still managed to push Terminus off the map. And now Uber Spady's going in, though, looking to turn things around. That's an Eevee and Ice Block. You can't kill that Uber Spady. That's Drogo's town, and this is Revital Gaming.
Oh my god, this might just be the turnaround that Handsome Jax wanted, because the Drogos tried to use anything there, the Dragon Punch, but was wasted throughout that time. Handsome Jax trying to do anything that they can to pick off the last remaining Torvald onto the point.
And now it's all up to Drogos to try and close the gap, but True Power stops JB's ass from getting there. The Dredge Anchor was beautiful onto the back line. Drogos, Handsome Jax, victory in Game 3. They took the 2-1 this set over their opponent's Revital, and do head through onto today's finals.
Amazing come out through Handsome Jax. They threw out the first point, and the first game was just a little bit onto their favor. They went with a 4-0, and then coming into it, Revital had an amazing turnaround, and they tried to capture and do what they can during that objective time. Look for an aggressive team comp, but when we came into the final push, we saw the Makoa, we saw the Terminus, and with that, Eevee and Talus coming through, always disrupting that backline, always making sure Uber Spady can't throw out damage one after another. Eevee blinks in, then Talus blinks in, and then it's just so much damage on the side of Handsome Jax.
It's a constant tag team, and I think we saw that very effectively towards the first capture, which Handsome Jax took as well, where there was the prioritization onto Maldamba in the backline. You know, we have True Power, which immediately closes a gap, and then Eevee takes over, and it's just this constant unrelenting pressure. And because of the nature of Eevee's wormhole as well, that pressure was split between almost 2 locations, it seemed like. Very difficult to deal with. The real nail in the coffin, though, right at the end for Revital Gaming was Uber Spady's missed Dragon Punch, which ended up looking like they were trying to find a Nara. I'm not sure if they were confused that Ice Block looked a little bit like Impasse, but they were obviously hunting for somebody, and if that Dragon Punch connected onto a Nara, it could have been a different game, but lack of target prioritization, lack of focus there, a lot of pressure on Uber Spady, and unfortunately in that one instance they didn't perform. Still, highest damage in the game does go to this Drogos, demonstrating their ability to perform in all other situations. In reality, whilst you can put a lot of pressure on these individual moments, I think this comes down to a more consistent issue with the team, because it's unfair to say that you can only win from having one person hyper carry when it's absolutely necessary. Sure, that's what we expect our professionals to do, and that's what we expect our stars to do, but they're enabled by the team being consistent behind them. And there was just something missing from Revital Gaming towards the end.
Yeah, one thing I want to throw out there for Revital is Zelda. Even though the score looks great and the damage charts are amazing for the Leon, but 10 deaths onto that, and that is the result of Eevee and Talus both moving out of the backline, getting those pickoffs onto the Leon. Whoever, no matter what, where she is, Pre-Kill could not support her enough, and that was one downfall onto the Revital side.
Yeah, you've got a Torvald with protection, you've got a Maldamba who's pocketing you, and Leon is just a vulnerable pickup in that situation. You know, Cassie may have been a little bit more viable there, just due to their ability to get away. Would have loved to see the Impulse Legendary used for her specifically as well, because the amount of just straight up punch damage which you can get off onto a flank sends a lot of people reeling, but still, great execution by Handsome Jax. With that in mind, let's head back onto our bracket for today and see exactly how it's looking. Absurd, break down for me what we've seen and where we're going for our finals.
Well, we've seen an amazing play through B5 and Gangstars, as Gangstars take a 2-0 lead, but over onto the side that we just casted, Handsome Jax, 2 onto the side of Revital Gaming for 1. Handsome Jax will be taking that for themselves as we move into the finals. Gangstars versus Handsome Jax. I want to see how this plays out.
It's going to be fantastic, and you will be joining us in spirit, I guess, in the form of a spectator. I expect to see you cheering for the one team or the other in chat any second now, because of course, Unexceptional will be joining me back on the mic for our final set today. We've got a brief break whilst we just do get our commentators changed over behind the scenes here. Thank you so much for joining me. Absurd, it has been an absolute pleasure. And for everybody watching, don't go anywhere. After this episode of Top 5 Plays, we'll be back with more ESL Go4Paladins action. Champions, welcome to this week's special episode of Paladins Top 5 Plays. My name is Vox, and with Anuki, we've assembled the top cut from Week 3 of the Paladins Premier League.
Come closer. I won't bite yet.
It's Amos here from Splice in 5th, trying to find a way to break the defensive hold. Boosting around, Fire Spit to Samba Detonation sends Cassie spilling over the edge of Stone Keep. Thrust up and around as the payload rolls through. Maldamba soaks a direct impact before Leon is turned on and focused down. Massive fire spit AoE to follow, and Barrick's little boost just couldn't save them from combustible afterburn. Maldamba pressured out again as Dragon Punch is channeled, and down goes the War Machine. The path looks clear, but in rolls Cassie, now respawned, and she puts a world of pain onto Amos, who barely escapes their life. A Splice overwhelmed Team Envy for victory.
What do I feel when sending a man to the grave? Recoil.
Whoa, dark. This time Team Envy is back to bite with Invocal Strix on Timber Mill. First shot connects, forcing Leon off elevation. Shell Shield provides momentary protection, but shield down. Invocal just doesn't miss, and Leon is caught out in the open. I drop bodies, hunts for blood behind friendly lines, but ambush reverse. All it takes is one shot to send him to the grave. Allied Inara now under heavy fire, but another 2 shots dispatch Cuscuti easing pressure. Makoa forced out, Flare is sent to reveal the incoming Ash, and Invocal pre-scopes and catches her knees for 1200, continuing to drop damage as respawns flood in. Inara does end up perishing, and Ash looks to path towards Invocal with shoulder bash, but Invocal keeps her focus on and catches Leon mid-air before eventually being forced out of the fight. Not before they've left their mark, however.
I have such an explosive personality.
NIP have a legendary reputation for wombo combos, and it all starts here with Bird and Wakono's chosen. In comes Lazy, Poppy Bomb plays to King Bomb mid-air as the big guns come out from Birdo, and everybody falls down. Talk about capitalizing on calamity. Ceres anchored to an explosive demise. There's just no recovery from plays like that.
You think darkness is your ally?
It's Mutu, on no surprises here, and Droxus again. An opportunistic, accursed arm slays Barrack in Darkroom. Ruckus has the right start but backs off, and Mutu returns fire, never stepping to remain mobile and flicking the worst of friends out of existence. Through to the Darkroom, King Bomb explosion is sidestepped, and Mutu ends his majesty before Torval is stolen away.
The shadows rise around you.
Back to back, and Droxus to close things out, and it's your boy Prince Danny TV hitting it home for SK Gaming as Hyper Beam throws Ash off the battlefield. Barrack is executed with a headshot to put the Prince on a killing spree. Eevee engages but is caught mid-air. Inaccuracy Bloom saves him momentarily, and Iceblock buys time, so Danny refocuses behind for a slay onto Wardoom. Reversal doesn't quite hit the mark, but Netherstep to rapid readjustment tears through eyedrop bodies. Even Danny seems surprised. One more to finish. The Godslayer, with Shattermore in hand, pulls in a successful defense to tie SK up 1-1. Thanks for watching. Want more Paladins esports? Head over to facebook.com/PaladinsGame and make sure to subscribe to our Paladins Premier League and Paladins Global Series show pages. You'll get notifications sent directly to you, including those for new shows, VODs of the games, and other exclusive content. Hello and welcome back everybody to the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup number 29. We are into our final set for today, as you can see by the bracket on your screens right now. My name is still HighResVox, although it tends to fluctuate from day to day apparently, and I am joined once again by Unexceptional. Patrick, it's a pleasure to have you back on here. What a set of semi-finals we've had on both sides of the bracket to start things off today.
I mean, the Gangstars, it says 2-0, but anyone who saw the match knows that that game looked a lot closer than the scoreboard will tell you. Both those games went 3-4, and B5 just barely losing them both. And then Handsome Jacks versus Revital Gaming. Obviously, the 2-1 going the way of Handsome Jacks, but also incredibly close games.
And a very good performance from both teams there. Revital Gaming having sort of the comeback, the wild card element to them, getting the second game win, and then pushing Handsome Jacks in the third game. Handsome Jacks, though, had an interesting draft in game number 3 on Jag Falls. Double flanker, and also getting Terminus and Makoa on the same team. It seems a little bit like Revital Gaming were fighting the uphill battle, David and Goliath style there, and Handsome Jacks have, of course, advanced through to be your other finalists today. So, let's talk about the map draft right now, because so far we've seen a lot of prioritization for Serpent Beach and Jag Falls coming at the end there. Right now, I'm wondering what's going to come through, so starting things off, let's talk about what's banned away, and that'll be up on your screen in just a second, so I'm going to cover it here real fast. Stonekeep and Brightmarsh have been taken off the table. How do you feel about these map bans?
They're interesting map. I get the Brightmarsh ban. Because clearly the Gangstars have a plan going into Brightmarsh, and they looked very strong on it.
Oh, yeah.
Stonekeep, I think we've seen banned away a little bit. It just seems like some teams aren't as comfortable with their positioning on it. You know, do we take the high ground? Do we go right to the point?
Well, this was the map as well. I think the Handsome Jacks took a 4-0 on it, so they've obviously got strategies of their own, and understanding that it's the Serpent Beach, which is the first map pickup. So this is at least the second time. I'll just have a quick check here. I think it's yeah, it's the second time we've seen Serpent Beach taken as the first pick today in the semifinals and finals. Third time we've seen it played, so it's been played in every single set. This is obviously a map which both teams feel comfortable on, but knowing Gangstar's performance on this map and Handsome Jack's performance on this map as well, which they lost last game, who are you giving the edge to here, just based on the map draft itself?
The Gangstars, specifically just because their drafts have looked so good through their first 2 games, and Serpent Beach is a little bit more of a neutral map. You know, it's a little open, it's a little closed. It's hard to pick a team comp that specifically thrives on Serpent Beach, so it's all about the overall team comp, and Handsome Jacks have just looked great doing it.
All about how you play. So let's head on through to our champion draft and see how it all begins as we kick things off here on Serpent Beach. Gangstars do have first ban. They take away Terminus. They don't want to give Makoa Terminus over to Handsome Jacks again after the last set, and Handsome Jacks say no Makoa for you. We're going to start things pretty neutral here. So far, Bomb King has been prioritized, and Nara as well. It is the Bomb King that's first pick though, so valuing that over frontliners, Gangstars want Sorcerer to feel comfortable here.
By choice, Sorcerer can carry them in these situations. The Handsome Jacks, however, are going to pick up Torvald and Shaolin. 2 really strong picks on Serpent Beach for sure.
Exactly, and Torvald just synergizes so well with a lot of compositions, but you know who punishes Torvald well? Ruckus right now, and Gangstars have been doing this noticeably. They've been going for a lot of Genos pickups for Navron recently. They've not been stressing over the Maldamba as much as a lot of teams have, and I like the angle. This does leave Handsome Jacks free to pick up the Maldamba, which they're doing, leaving their last pick open for damage as Inara is taken in 4th.
I like the 2 tanks coming out of Handsome Jacks right now. Being able to form a front line is really important on Serpent Beach, and the Gangstars know it too, picking up their own Fernando, and they're going to round out their comp with the flanker Maeve.
Okay, so it's been a little while, it feels like, since we've seen Maeve, and not being played against Torvald, being played into Torvald, not with Torvald, is curious here. We'll have to see how the impact of the silence is. Nian is the last pick. Handsome Jacks are pulling out a rather bizarre composition. No flank pressure, all long-range damage.
Yeah, going for with this long, where the neutral point is this long kind of hallway situation where you can get a lot of these long-range shots in, and so I see what they're thinking, but
well, my concern is what do you do with this long-range damage when a Bomb King or a Maeve gets up in your face and just gives you a math problem which you haven't got the solution to, right? That's my concern here. And I'm excited to see how Handsome Jacks will play around that. I think that Torvald would be a big solution, but I'm expecting to see maybe Inara go for some peel if they run treacherous ground, but enough of the speculation. It is time for our game. On a vacuum, I've got to ask you, Patrick, Gangstars at Handsome Jacks, on this draft on Serpent Beach, who are you giving it to?
Stars for sure. They have a much more balanced team between damage dealers, flanking, and frontliners, and they've just been playing hot.
Well, let's have a look as we head straight on through to our Game 1 of Gangstars versus Handsome Jacks. Here it all begins, and here the finals do start to come to a close. Gangstars fighting out of the blue corner, Handsome Jacks on the right-hand side of your screen. But for Gangstars, let's start off with their legendaries. Menschmeyer 360 is running Scorch Fernando, Saucer Chain Reaction Bomb King, Navron with Celestial Touch Genos, Westorn Aerial Assault Ruckus, and Scosis with Artful Dodge and Maeve.
Side we have Raptor and Nara with Mother's Grace, Nino Sasla, Eminence, and Leanne, excuse me, Surette, Spirit's Chosen, Maldamba, Field Study, Torvald. We're going to finish it off with Lao Smurf, Desert, Shadow, Shaolin.
Looking at the initial itemization coming through, pretty measured between both these teams. Raptor 00X going for the Master Riding. Inara actually going to the high ground here, not straight to the objective, which we're sort of used to seeing. Maybe looking for some backline peel, and Westo takes a face full of damage to start off, but already there's a Grumpy Bomb sitting there waiting for Inara to come through. Maeve's looking for long distance damage. Nobody's on the point so far, but Inara is so low, and Menschmeyer picks up first blood. Scosis with the second kill, and that's 2 down already for Handsome Jacks as Gangstars take control.
They're looking like they're just going to apply a lot more pressure here. And Scosis on Maeve. You got to remember that those daggers don't have damage fall off based on distance. They will always do their full damage, and so when you can snipe with them, you can kill with them.
Oh yeah, if you understand the arc, and Scosis actually likes to rock the title of Blades, which demonstrates that they've reached at least level 20 with Maeve, and that's certainly something to be afraid of, but silenced out by Torvald. Nullify, here comes the turnaround. 57% for Gangstars, looking for a way in. Enlightenment already used by Lian here. Nino helps Skillganon pick up Menschmeyer, and now Handsome Jacks take control of the objective, starting to equalize the capture percentage.
Yeah, they're still down a little bit. The Gangstars got 60% on that first push, but they're going to need to regroup as quickly as they can to make sure that the Handsome Jacks don't run away with this thing.
Oh, big presence comes through from Nina Sassel there. 1100 damage on the Bomb King in the backline. 87% and climbing for Handsome Jacks. Maeve's coming to look to execute Lian on the backline, though. Scosis in a lot of trouble, but in more trouble now is actually Soretz, who gets taken down, and now we're fully contested. 99% for Handsome Jacks. In comes Maeve, looking for the Lian pickup, finds Nina Sassler, but still, Gangstars are struggling to hold on here, at last getting some purchase. Now they're going to turn it around, and it's all blue on the objective. 99% ticks over. This is all about Gangstars.
Fight Goes has put the team on their back and just fragged with Maeve. I mean, that's what you want out of Maeve, which is... I was worried about the Torvald being able to silence Maeve in the backline, makes it difficult for her to get away, but without a Torvald there, Maeve ran rampant.
And that's been really importantly, is that Scosis has been playing around this pressure and around the damage potential and the silence potential from Torvald, but look at the charts right now. Liana is sitting at the top currently, 30,000 damage, 10k a minute, and is looking for more. Skillganon picks up West on the payload. Menschmeyer's already traded out for Raptor, 1 down for each team, but Menschmeyer finds a double, and this is looking bad for Handsome Jacks on defense as Maeve tries to turn up the heat.
And the Handsome Jacks are going to be forced to fall back, and this is a critical moment for them to have those frontliners as the Gangstars push through the very difficult choke point right now. Their ultimate out of Lian.
Oh, and Lian ends up falling anyway to Scosis, going down after Enlightenment was used. Saucer just stacking up sticky bombs onto Inara and then throwing out Grumpy, puts her in a very awkward position, and King Bomb is ready. This is going straight to the backline. Eyes on Soretz. Now we have Slither available, but West already gets the shutdown. Hyper Beam does come through. Skillganon trying to buy space for their team, as with 1 minute and 10 seconds left on this push, the payload is going to roll through. Nobody from Handsome Jacks could even try to contest, and that's Gangstars with a 2-0 already.
Earlier, I mean, we're 4 minutes in, and the question has not been answered as to what do you do when these flankers get up in your face and all you have is long-range damage. It seems like the answer is you just die.
Yeah, it's well, you've got Torvald to shield you, and really that's about it. And so far that hasn't been the answer, because Scosis has been too nimble, is what it feels like. So what do you really end up doing when the Maeve gets into your backline? I want to see some combos start to come out. Lausmurf and Nina Sassler together have enough kill potential to take down a Maeve individually. Why aren't we seeing them work together?
5,
I think just the communication's not there. So, you know, sometimes when you get so thoroughly thwarted by the other team's strategy, it becomes more difficult somehow to formulate your own. It just gets confusing.
Big through time and space to start things off. Doesn't find any damage, but dismounts everybody. Westo's moving around, trying to get into a good elevator position, and already in the backline is Menschmeyer alongside their Immortal if necessary, but Skillganon says no, nullified, you don't get the chance to use that ultimate, and now maybe there's a turnaround potential for Handsome Jax, but oh my goodness, Skillganon chases down Skozas. Torvald is the answer to Maeve in multiple ways, apparently.
I guess Torvald's answer to Maeve when he just feels like running you down.
You just hold mouse one, hold W, and that's it?
Yeah, not usually the option you see out of Torvald, but you know, when you're good enough, you can make anything work.
And now Nullify is available, looking to try and maybe peel Menschmeyer, who's diving straight into the backline. Out comes as well the Immortal. Westo moving into position to maybe try and get some damage done with Ruckus, but no Hexafire available, is forced to get onto the point and flee. Skillganon in a lot of trouble, his Void Grip to the skies, and that should be an easy set of kills, but somehow survives, and it's back and forth between these two teams. Handsome Jax did get 74% on cap, but now Gangstars are starting to come back in control as Skozas gets a double.
Skozas in the backline fighting. Torvald somehow is going to pick up that kill. I guess his Nullify was down, and that's what you need. The Handsome Jax now, the entire team is dead, and they need to regroup right now if they're going to have a chance to retake this point.
The problem is that who's going to manage to get to the objective from Handsome Jax? They've got two frontliners that don't have gap-closing abilities. With Ashe falling out of favor, there's nobody who can just shoulder bash in there. You've got to just walk in whilst mounted, and unfortunately the dismount to Inara is good enough. That's the capture for Gangstars. Second time in a row, we're now 3-0 for them on Serpent Beach, and they are just rolling forwards this game, showing no sign of slowing.
2 minutes left. They are pushing this payload hard. And look at Menschmeyer way in the back, taking on the entire team. Fernando doesn't care. And
what's really important about Menschmeyer's play there as well is the way that they're stacking up multiple enemies to get the bonus damage from Scorch. You could see them sort of keep Inara slightly in front of them whilst looking for Maldamba and going for that kind of combo angle. I mean, this player is tracking trigonometry in their head right now to be able to pull off some of the fireball shots they're going for. And with 1 minute and 45 seconds on the payload, already having reached 3/4 of its push duration, this frontliner is creating a good deal of space for their team.
Why I'm bad at Fernando. It's because I never learned trigonometry. It all makes sense now.
Mathematical, but Skozas gets the double kill immediately on Maeve off the back of a double jump. Fantastic mid-air reprioritization. Payload is going to push through. Gangstars just, in the time it took us to make a math joke, they've already won the game. I think that speaks volumes in what Gangstars just performed.
Kidding me with that Maeve play right now? That was unbelievable. I could barely follow that just watching. How fast is
Skozas is a good
working to make that happen?
We talk about Skozas being like, oh yeah, Skozas has a mean Cassie, a mean Androxus. The Off-Blades title means something, and a lot of people forget that. Look at that damage chart as well. 42,000 the highest on their team. Speaking of damage, Nina Sassler did a bunch this game, but didn't seem to be effective. 4, 5, and 7. A lot of tickle onto the enemy team. Not a lot of kill potential is what I'm seeing there.
I think there just wasn't enough follow-up, or maybe they were supposed to be the follow-up, but Nina Sosla just did the damage at the wrong time. I'm not really sure what happened there, because 70,000 damage is far and away the most in the game. I think really the problem is Lao Smurf only 29,000 on the Shaolin. You need that to be higher.
Yeah, that's a significant deficit. I think if Lao Smurf, and you're very right there, had a higher damage number and less on the death charts, maybe was playing a bit safer, because 8 deaths is actually the highest in game right now. Would have been a different situation. So Lao Smurf obviously very highly focused, very poked out and very prioritized. And that's a problem, because you never want that to be a situation in which your carries are in. So moving on to the next map, definitely want to see some more defensive play out of maybe the frontline champions on the team of Handsome Jax, looking to keep their squad alive rather than letting them be eaten alive by Skozas on Maeve or maybe Saucer's Bomb King. Moving forward then, let's head through onto the next map draft screen and see where we're going. Gangstars took map 1 of Serpent Beach 4-0. Map number 2, we haven't seen this one in a while.
Splitstone's a really interesting map. There are a ton of sort of unexpected angles that you can engage from. You know, it's a lot of like buildings in the middle and a lot of hallways going through stuff. And so it's really, flankers have a really good time on Splitstone.
They do and they don't at the same time because there's a lot of open space as well. It's a map where snipers have been picked up, but due to the fact they're just quite vulnerable at the moment, they won't always really thrive. I'm expecting to see the Shaolin again, in all honesty. I feel like that's a good pick that works out on this map, but I couldn't really call which team is going to prioritize it, and if maybe the Bomb King again was too much of a thorn in the side of maybe Handsome Jacks, to them to get to the point where they might want to start banning it. Is there any specific pickup that you're really looking forward to seeing on a map like Splitstone Quarry?
True. Map like Splitstone, I love Bomb King. I feel like Bomb King does great on Splitstone because you can reposition with the Poppy Bomb across these big open areas, but then there's also a lot of little claustrophobic areas where it's basically impossible to miss the bombs.
That's really important there, because if Bomb King can confirm their damage as we have seen Saucer do previously, they are devastating to play into. With that in mind, draft for game number 2 is on your screens now. Handsome Jacks won. Gangstars, I think we might have to actually update that, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check out the bans though. So far, Terminus and Makoa taken off the table once again.
I think that's the right thing to do. It seems like Terminus is having a lot of impact. We all know what Makoa can do. Handsome Jack's going to go back to the Torvald.
And that seemed to be something which they wanted to work with, you know. It's like, okay, this is our prioritization. This is what we want to run with. So, and it does look like, yes, our draft is actually the wrong way around there. Sorry. Handsome Jacks are on the left. Gangstars should be the one up. We'll get that corrected after this game for you. But Torvald, the solution to maybe keeping their backline carries alive, I do respect it. Coming through, though, Gangstars yet again get Bomb King and Nara.
Other side, Handsome Jacks are going to solve their Torvald problem by picking up Ruckus, making sure they don't have that opposite tank that can just feed off of him.
Yeah, that's going to be really important right there as well. So moving forwards, Fernando again from Menschmeyer. Maldamba picked up this time around as Handsome Jacks strip the Janus away from Navron on Gangstars. I like that angle, and they're still going for the Shaolin pickup. But this time they've got some flank pressure themselves. I like the Eevee draft on Splitstone specifically.
Really important here. She's such a mobile champion, and that's really what you want. This is the kind of flanker I'm talking about when I say flankers have a good time, is because she can cover that big open distance very quickly and deal the damage. And Gangstar is going to finish off their draft with a Grover.
And the Grover pickup is curious here, because Grover works well as sort of that hybrid sniper. You know, they've got the survivability to last on a map where snipers would otherwise be pressured out, and they're a bit less vulnerable against Eevee. I'm excited to see how this draft goes. Once again, I've got to ask you, in a vacuum, Handsome Jacks or Gangstars here, bearing in mind that Gangstars took map number 1. On paper, the draft, who are you giving it to?
Handsome Jacks has a much more well-rounded draft, but I think for the map, I like the Gangstars. I like the Grover. I like the Bomb King. I think those 2 picks should be very impactful.
It'll be interesting to see how it all does break down as we get ourselves ready for game number 2 in this set. Coming up on your screens momentarily, of course, it is going to be on Splitstone Quarry. We don't often see this map played in the competitive rotation, so I'm excited to see how it all goes down. Let's tune in with the teams, and now we've got our scoreboard the right way around. You can see Handsome Jacks, 1 game down on the left-hand side. Need to pull out a victory here, or Gangstars will take the set. Let's start off by breaking down the legendaries. It's going to be Nina Sassler for the side of Handsome Jacks, running Desert Shadow Shaolin. Surets with Celestial Touch, Janos, Raptor 00X on Field Study, Torvald, Skill Cannon with Flux Generator, Ruckus, and Loud Smurf for Wormhole Eevee. That Flux Generator, that's an unusual pickup.
5, 4.
The aerial assault. Westo with Scorch Fernando. Menschmeyer.
So it begins.
Grace for Nara. Sorsa, Chain Reaction, Bomb King, Navron, Spirits Chosen, Maldamba, and Skosis, Ferocity, Grover. Let's get into the action.
And it does appear that actually it is, as Grover gets a lot of pressure put on them already by the Eevee and goes down for first blood to Nina Sassler, but Skillgan is sticking with a Flux Generator here, so going for a very survivable emitter, and so far that survivability is working out as Gangstars are in control of the objective, but no, Handsome Jacks, well, they're coming back in. Eevee deep in the backline is under a lot of pressure, but Blinks keep her safe. No, Saucer ends her life, and now it's 24-24. Pretty much an even game to start things off.
Yeah, Handsome Jack's making a smart choice, throwing Eevee at Grover, make sure that Grover is just not allowed to be comfortable. Because although he can use his Vine to get places, it's only the one time and it's pretty predictable.
Yeah, and it's a dangerous thing to have Grover with Ferocity as their legendary in an open map such as this. We talked about Shaolin swinging, but Grover can certainly do some work. Nice crippling throw to Eevee there. She is able to get back with Wormhole. Skill Cannon starting to put the pressure on from the peripheral of this map now. Is in a lot of trouble versus Bomb King, but goes to safety, and that big tanky Flux Generator emitter is doing work with him so far.
Yeah, the Gangstars are falling behind here. Handsome Jack's already up at almost 80%, over 80% on the point. The Gangstars need to make their move if they're going to capture this neutral objective.
Somebody's got to back in. Somebody's got to get back in there. Somebody's got to contest, but nobody can do it. Handsome Jacks get a free capture there towards the end. Great pressure from Evie, keeps everybody at bay. And so far, let's take a look at the damage charts right now because I'm expecting her to be up there. And yeah, second at 15,000. Really good work from the Winter Witch.
Wow, all the top 3 are from Handsome Jax. Handsome Jax just doing a great job confirming their damage. And look at the Evie. She's everywhere.
And oh my goodness, Bomb King doesn't know she's there. Goes straight back into them with a Poppy Bomb. Double kill for Lousmurf. Double as Nina Sassler cleaned up 2. That is an easy payload push coming through initially as Westo's the last one to fall. Handsome Jacks are going to get a lot off the back of that full team wipe.
All right, just under 2 minutes. We're already over halfway pushed. Look how quickly Handsome Jacks are pushing it after that team fight. They're only up 1-0, but they're trying to make change.
And they're looking to make this 2-0 in a very short amount of time, which I respect. Gangstars currently have all their ultimates available, which could be used on defense here, but if Handsome Jacks can take the advantage, it'll be a big benefit for them. Seismic Crash has come through. Inara looking to set up the stuns, but Saucer is able to capitalize on the back of that just about. Gangstars throw another ultimate at the wall with Whirlwind as well, and they do hold on, getting a lot done off the back of them, but they're throwing every single resource in their kit available currently at the defense, and there's still 1 minute and 10 seconds left.
That impasse that Inara put up to make sure that Torvald couldn't run away is the stuff of nightmares when you're running away from an Inara.
You just don't want to encounter it. You know that you've got no passage to go through. I think that almost looked like Evie died from the damage of being thrust up into the bridge there as well from the impasse. Menschmeyer, good work on Inara so far. And again, 45 seconds left in this push. Handsome Jacks are looking for a regroup to try and break Gangstar's base. Now they've just used Whirlwind, and they've just used Seismic Crash from Inara. The Handsome Jacks commit their own ultimates here to try and push.
After, you still have more than enough time to get a good team fight to go in your favor and to use these ultimates and make sure you can push it. And so I think it would just be a waste to not use them at this point if you are really going to try to play aggressive and push this win.
Problem is, Saucer got an early pickoff, and that means there's a numbers advantage to Gangstars on defense right now, and Skillganner loses their entire emitter in seconds. My goodness, the bonus damage from Chain Reaction is extreme when Saucer's landing all those sticks. 8 seconds remain. Nino Sassler tries to make the way in, but is dissuaded by the axe from Grover after Skozis finds a double, and that should be enough for a successful defense. Gangstars get it. It's all tied up 1-1.
Favorite part about Grover is it's that you don't slow down when you're throwing your axes and you don't reload.
It's just relentless.
Never stop attacking.
You just keep on going, right? And that's really important. And as we look at the itemization so far, Skozis has Cauterize 2 on them right now, which means that all that unrelenting pressure is also going to be emptying anti-heal onto the enemy team. That's a good look.
It's a very good look. Same with Westo. Westo with the level 2 Cauterize in combination with Scorch is going to make it really difficult for Genos to heal effectively.
Right, and that's very, very important. As we move forwards, looking at the healing charts really fast, now you remark on that. Genos does need shutting down with their healing. It's 41,000 in favor of this player right now. And so far, Surrette's doing a good job with them, needs to be pressured out, but I'm looking to Gangstars to find out who they're going to turn to in order to do that, and I'm not seeing any answers like we did see with Evie, who goes up to the high ground, drops an Ice Storm on 2, and should get an easy first kill onto Navron.
We saw it last round, we see it again. Evie just goes right for Grover, and there's nothing Grover can do about it, even with the help of Maldamba. Both healers going down at the same time. The Gangstars are going to lose 4 players right off the bat, and Handsome Jacks are going to get a lot of capture off of that.
And that's already 42% and rising. Now we are tied up 1-1. There is no comeback mechanic coming through, but look at the zoning power of this team right now. Being able to heal through walls. Genos is on the objective. Dread Serpent thrown out to try and make their way in. Seismic Crash and Whirlwind using combination to keep the team alive, and Gangstars are re-engaging, but nobody's addressing Nina Sassler, and Charlene stays alive. 400 health remaining, goes into the Heat Haze, tries to run away from Westo, and now gas pedals back towards the enemy team. Walks straight towards Maldamba, who doesn't realize they're there, but nice impasse blocks that off, and we're once again reaching an impasse in play, and Nina Sassler takes a trip to the underworld there, able to disengage away from this Fernanda, who eventually punishes, or is punished by Raptor.
Absolutely fearless, and that was the big turnaround. Torvald gonna take a lot of damage from Bomb King, but Bomb King a little bit left on his own, and now Handsome Jacks are pushing again at 7 minutes.
And that's really important. Handsome Jacks have a second opportunity to try and push this through. Now, Gangstars used ultimates on the last defense to try and hold them at bay, and ended up also getting an early kill advantage from Saucer. If Handsome Jacks can play around it this time, I'm excited to see if they can come out with a really positive performance here and get the conversion to be 3-1, but who do they have to kill on Gangstars lineup to really be able to make that performance happen?
Always you have to kill Bomb King. Bomb King provides too much pressure, but right now Loud Smurf is doing a great job making sure that Grover, who has that damage potential, is never allowed to sit there and attack. Always being bothered, always being killed.
And that's so important in a game like this. Payload has been sold out at halfway through, 1 minute and 30 seconds left to go, but Saucer almost falls to a planet there. And one more shot from Lousmurf gets him. Nice impaler arrow from Nina Sassler as well into Fernando. Westo being forced back from this objective area. Almost gets the kill onto Nina, who does stay alive. And now we're engaging with Ice Storm as the payload does continue pushing. Ghost is able to equalize, but is it enough to hold on?
I don't know. With over a minute left, they're about 80% of the way pushed are the Handsome Jacks. They're looking really strong right now, and the Gangstars are really struggling to get off this. They're flat-footed. They're really...
Yeah,
they're having trouble pushing
There's not much
back.
that they can do in this situation apart from, again, throw ultimates to the wall. And one comes from Fernando, one comes from Maldamba as well. But watch out, because Skillganon just emptied a Hexafire from the high ground into Westo, picked up the double kill. Surretz gets a third, and now Handsome Jacks are looking to continue this payload push forwards. We do appear to have a brief pause coming through. I've been informed that the duration is about 2 minutes long, so... Looking at the whole situation right now, I'm going to nip up into free cam real fast, which is something we don't often do, and take a look at some of the player positioning from this game so far. Handsome Jacks have the advantage, but you can see across the left-hand side of your screen, a lot of them coming back from respawn. Gangstars have this choke point to hold on to right now. How do they best position Gangstars to be able to make this defense?
They actually have to fall back a little bit. You see where Sorsa is, and right behind him, Skillganon is about to just lay some damage into his back. This is what I was talking about with this map, is that there are a million little hallways. It's like a rat's nest in there.
You've got to be very careful not overextending.
Exactly. It's very difficult to not overextend. So with only 2 people, you know, right now everyone else is in base respawning. I feel like you almost just want to fall back as much as you can, literally onto the point, and defend from there.
And you've got an Inara there as well. Handsome Jacks have Torval, but if I'm not mistaken, looking at the scoreboard right now, it's Mother's Grace for Inara, so Mechmire should be able to avoid being blown away by a Hyper Beam. And I think Torval, you can see them right at the back of the map, is just coming out of base, so they're going to be a while that we should have a full team of 5 facing each other before that displacement potential comes back into play. Again, it's 45 seconds left on the clock. Handsome Jacks, they have the tools in their kit to make this conversion. They do have Hyper Beam. They've got through time and space as well available. Neither of those are the best setup ultimates though, so again, does the responsibility fall just to Eevee, or is there somebody else that you're looking at to make the big plays for Handsome Jacks to try and go on the conversion?
I think we need to get some picks out of Shaolin. I think if Shaolin can do enough damage immediately up front, then there's no way the Gangstars have a chance at defending. Because that's what Shaolin does. He takes your big tanky guys and he goes, whoop, you're at half health. Now you can't defend.
Exactly. And look at that. 1,933 onto Menschmeyer, who was poked out around the corner already, almost to half health. Even Sassler potentially over-engages here, avoids the seismic crash thanks to the withdraw stealth, but Saucer looks to end their life, tries to search for it. In comes King Bomb from Saucer, landing immediately onto Raptor. Double detonation, almost ends their life, but the recharge is good enough just to extend that a little bit, and, well, it's 1 member for 2. Gangstars have lost 2 right now, and Handsome Jacks still have the opportunity to go for a push.
The Gangstars, I think, are less worried about their players dying because the payload is so close to their own spawn point. I mean, obviously you don't want to die, but the Handsome Jacks have to go so much further, and with the clock this low, it is much harder for them to get back on the point, but the Gangstars need to get on this point and defend it. It's about 99% of the way there, Vox.
And you could see Fernando launch the way in, but this is the issue of defending so close to the objective. Handsome Jacks push successfully off the back of a Hyper Beam, and that's all that was necessary. 3-1. There's a displacement potential coming through. Inara didn't have Earthen Guard to immune that CC. Beautiful play, and now game point to Handsome Jacks.
Yeah, Raptor 000X with the round-winning Hyper Beam. Their Hyper Beam is such a good Hyper Beam, and and
would argue-
Dread Spirit, I think, are the two best converting ultimates.
Definitely the ultimates. I would argue that to a degree, Poppy Bomb actually facilitates the same sort of displacement as Hyper Beam sometimes. We actually saw that on Stone Keep in a previous set, so you can do some really exciting things with both, but it's just that matter of throwing enemies away from the objective, right? And that's so important in a situation like that.
Once overtime starts ticking, and the later into overtime, the less overtime you get, and so sometimes you get those miracle Poppy Bombs that just knock away 1 or 2 people, and that's it, round over.
Speaking of miracle Poppy Bombs, Saucer is able to stay alive right there, punished by Nino Sassler, so a good trade so far, 1-1. Nino drops in a planted, looks for damage on a Grover, but Skoses is locking off their angles so hard. Nino's actually forced into Heat Haze to be able to try and even contest this objective. Makes very, very short work of Fernando's shield. Looks to drop a lot of damage towards Inara, but again, Skoses is unmitigated at the top of this map and is causing a lot of issues. Only now is Eevee giving chase, and Lousmurf tries to find them. Down goes Skoses, down goes Westo. Response from Navron is good, but will it be enough here? Saucer gets a double kill, and that might just be it.
Source getting the double kill is huge. Without those 2 kills in response, that just means the Handsome Jacks objectively win that fight. We've got the Dread Serpent coming out. The Gangstars are reasserting their dominance on this point, and they're looking good.
57% to Handsome Jacks. Gangstars at 74% and rising. If Gangstars get this cap, they win the series. It's imperative that Handsome Jacks get in there, but Skill Gunner drops out a Hexafire, and oh no, Source is just wailing on behind them with all of those sticky bombs and all of that damage. Nino narrowly avoids the follow-up from Saucer, and now in comes King Bomb. Will this be enough? Gangstars have all of their members here. Overtime is ticking right now, and that should be the capture rolling through. Can anybody contest? Just Charlene remains. And no, that's Gangstars capturing the point, keeping themselves in this game. And Handsome Jacks, they have to play at least another round.
Shaolin is a great character. He is not the character to dive on a point and save it at the last second for you.
Also not the character to really try and box out with Grover, because whilst he deals 1,000 damage per shot, Grover's going to get 2 to 3 axes off at the same time that you're going to be able to fire 2 shots of your own weapon. And that's almost enough to kill Charlene in a lot of circumstances.
Yeah, Grover, we've seen it a couple times where he'll hit Shaolin with 1 axe at the max distance and just half health him right there. And there's really nothing Shaolin can do about it.
Well, you're scared because if you poke out and you get hit by maybe a projectile from another champion on top of another Grover axe as well, that's death immediately. And that's a really dangerous situation to be in. Gangstars are being forced back though, 1 minute and 40 on the clock. 3-2 in favor of Handsome Jacks. Gangstars could tie things up here, but it will be a tall order as Handsome Jacks are holding Gangstars pretty much at bay right now.
Yeah, looks like the Handsome Jacks have set up a pretty good defense, but with Shaolin falling, that's a lot of damage missing, and this is a window for the Gangstars to push, and I think that they've recognized it too.
And I don't really get the Eevee Ice Storm ultimate right there as well. Lousmurf drops that on only 1 member, which is Fernando, and then ends up dying in the process. Now the payload's rolling for free. The Shaolin, which you remarked on, that's good damage potential, but not able to contest is, well, not able to contest. And with 1 minute left, this payload is over halfway, over 3/4 of the way through, looking towards conversion.
Ultimate felt panicky to me. Oh, that long-range shot coming out of Grover to take out Shaolin. Looks like Handsome Jack's back is breaking right now as the Gangstars are steamrolling.
Double support as well as keeping all these front lines healthy. Skoses throws out Blossom. In comes Eevee. Wormhole blinks back to base and is already stuck in their base, just trying to stay alive. Nobody's contesting this one. Skill Ganon gets crippled out, and it's up to Lousmurf to get in there and actually manage to contest. But Skill Ganon ends up falling, and Gangstars push successfully. We're all tied up at 3-3. This is as close as it gets, and Handsome Jacks need this cap to win.
Yeah, because right now, Gangstars are on, tournament point. If they cap it, they win it all. Handsome Jacks need to get this and reset, turn it into a best of 1.
And at this point, it's 40 minutes into the game. We're not talking about items making or breaking the difference, although a lot of resilience is being picked up by Handsome Jacks, which I like versus Bomb King. We're talking on individual play and team coordination right now. We're talking about ultimate combos as well, so what are you looking to Handsome Jacks to do in this situation to pull out a victory? What's their winning condition?
A big Hexafire from Skill Ganon, I think. They need to hope that maybe the Gangstars group up a little bit because their ultimates are great against grouped targets. They're not great against single targets except for Shaolin. So if they're going to spread out, then Shaolin needs to do work. Otherwise, the rest of the team needs to pick off these groups.
Well, immediately to the backline goes Lousmurf, but forced out again. Nino Sassler takes the high ground and is trying to look for Pokemon towards the objective. Skoses dives in. That's a whirlwind coming through. A lot of healing potential, but mitigated by Cauterize as well. And King Bomb, oh my goodness. Gangstars throw everything at the wall initially, but thanks to resilience, Raptor gets out of that, still ends up falling. Gangstars up in full control. Will Nino Sassler be able to turn the tide? One kill down already to Lousmurf. Menschmeyer arts back with a kill onto the Eevee, but the gas pedal Charlene is just rolling through the enemy backline. Everybody's so low. Down goes Westo, and now maybe there's a chance of a comeback as Gangstars are at 54%.
Stars are looking real strong, but they need to deal with Nino Sassler dealing so much damage in the back. And Nara, oh, gonna not take that, what looked like a 1v1, but was secretly a 4v1 as the Gangstars are still up over 50% on this cap.
And Nino managed to survive, and that's really important here. Westo gets stunned out into a wall, and Nino Sassler is still doing damage. Sitting at the top of the charts, 135,000 right now. Inara pinned into the wall by Ice Storm and shut down by Raptor. Handsome Jacks are back in control. 72% and climbing. Eevee pushes out towards the front line of this fight alongside Skill Ganon to try and contest. Westo is held in the air by Void Grip. Not quite finished off before they reach the objective, but Handsome Jacks are in full control at 99%. And we've got another Heat Haze coming through. There's the gas pedal. There's the kill potential. There's the Hyper Beam throwing everybody away, and overtime is ticking. Can anybody get back in time as Seismic Crash comes through? The stun potential, the bonus damage as well from Torvald's Field Study. That's enough kill potential to take down Grover. Navron falls as well, and it's one frontline versus 4 members of Handsome Jacks right now. Not enough to sustain, and Saucer can't make it there. Overtime ticks to completion, and Gangstars fall. Handsome Jacks keep themselves in the set.
Yeah, we're tied up 1-1 now, and that defense coming out of the Handsome Jacks was exactly what they needed to do. It all came down to Shaolin. Just went out of their mind. Nino Sassler is so accurate at the end, so many shots in, and there was 2 Heat Hazes in the last fight.
In 1-point fight, which is absolutely remarkable, and that just goes to show that, like, the prowess which Nino Sassler is able to exhibit. You know, we talked about on Serpent Beach, it's like, okay, Nino is sitting at 70,000 damage on Lian, but we've got a Charlene that's at 27k. Like, okay, let's put Nino on Charlene. Let's see what this player can do on this champion. And stay alive was a really important part of that. Sure, 9 deaths are in there, but with the lowest, with the exception of Janos, which is kind of expected, being 8 on the side of Gangstars. That's a really impressive slash line. This game seemed to me, personally, like a lot of a battle, like a really big battle between Nino Sassler and Saucer specifically. They didn't encounter each other a lot, but those were the 2 hyper carry potential players on both teams. Nino Sassler this time around, well, nobody had an answer to them.
You're exactly right. I mean, between Shaolin and Bomb King, these are the 2 characters you expect to sway team fights heavily in their favor when they're hitting their shots. And that's what we saw. When Saucer was hot and hitting all the shots, that's when the Gangstars won. When Nino Sassler was hot and surviving, most importantly, surviving, Handsome Jacks won. And we can see in the damage numbers that both of them really brought their A games.
And so moving through on then to the champion draft for map number 3, coming up in your screens in just a second. To recap, map number 1 went onto Serpent Beach. Gangstars took that one whole-handedly. Map number 2, which we've just seen of Splitstone Quarry, went in favor of Handsome Jacks. Frozen Guard is where we're going to end it all. And again, I feel like Splitstone Quarry, this is a map that we just don't see too often in competitive play.
It's definitely not a map we see too often in competitive play, so it was really interesting to see what comps come out and what strategies they use, because there's so many angles to attack from on Splitstone Quarry.
Well, you know, Frozen Guard has that kind of similarity there with Splitstone of a lot of long lines of sights. I'm expecting the Shaolin again, but again, there's sniper potential here, and with Skoses performing quite well on Grover, do you think there's room to see that champion return to the realm?
Yeah, I mean, there's always potential. I don't think they would run back the Grover because it just didn't... I mean, Grover did a lot of damage. It was over 90,000 damage, but it didn't feel impactful, you know? And sometimes the numbers are one thing, but the feeling in the game is another. Grover was forced to hang back really far away from the action for so much of that, so many of those fights.
Very much felt like Grover was also just being chased around the map by Eevee for so long, and Grover's very effective when you get them to free fire, but if they're not just sitting there constantly swinging, they're honestly more of a hindrance. If they can't deal with the flanks and have to be babysit, well then maybe another champion that has more 1v1 potential is more appropriate, shall we say. And with that in mind, it is the final champion draft of the day, folks. Gangstars versus Handsome Jacks. We're all tied up 1-1. It all comes to completion here, so let's head on through to our champion draft and see who has the first pick. Gangstars, first ban comes up. Unsurprisingly, it's Terminus. Handsome Jacks, I'm guessing oh, there we go. Okay, no surprises there.
No, same two bans that we've seen in the previous two games between these two teams. They know what they're doing. They know who they don't want to play against, and the Gangstar is going to grab Torvald first.
So Gangstar's stripping it away from Handsome Jacks this time. I think after, Torvald enabled a lot of kill potential from Eevee in the previous game, that's a really good angle. Handsome Jacks, though, this time around, they get the Bomb King and Inara.
Really strong picks. I like them on this map. The Gangstars looks like they're just running the opposite of what they ran before. They're going to pick up Eevee and Genos.
Okay, so we're getting a bit of a trade around here, but Gangstars are finally getting their Genos back, which will be interesting to see how that performs. While Damba and Ruckus picked up the Handsome Jacks, relatively neutral picks here. And Handsome Jacks are running the Flux Generator Ruckus now, so more survivable on this map without verticality. Fernando and Zin to close things out for Gangstars, and we'll come to the Zin pick a bit later. I think it's going to be important to see what legendary they're running. Handsome Jacks, they've got a couple of options here, but it's likely to be damage to close out their lineup. Let's see what it'll be.
Definitely going to want a little more oomph, if not damage, than a flanker for sure. And they're going to grab Talus.
Ooh, okay.
Really strong flanker right now.
That's definitely going to be good at getting into the backline and maybe disrupting Genos. Less kill potential onto Zin. Depends what kind of loadout the Zin goes. And I think that's really the coin flip for me this game, is that will Talus be able to take the 1v1s they need to, or will they be interrupted by like a counter-style play from Zin and just be peeled from the backline straight away? There's a lot of what-ifs going on with this game is what I'm getting at here, and I don't think that we can really predict on the outcomes just based off the drafts. This is one where it really comes down to how do the teams and how do the players perform, and there's no better place to see that than in-game. So, unexceptional, let's head straight on through to game number 3, map number 3 of Frozen Guard to see how this set closes out. Starting things off, Gangstars are on the left-hand side of your screen. We'll start with their legendaries. Menchmire 360 playing Field Study Torvald, Saucer on Wormhole, Eevee, Westo with Scorch Fernando, Navron with Luminary Genos, and Skosis on Smolder Zin, so not the newly buffed Guillotine.
Stasla, Raging Demon, Talus, Raptor, 00X, Mother's Grace, Inara, Lao Smurf, Chain Reaction, Bomb King, Skillgan, and Aerial Assault Ruckus, and Surets. Spirit's Chosen Meltdown, but Aerial Assault Ruckus on this map is an interesting choice.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking maybe the Flux Generator, but there is the potential for that to be taken down quite quickly. You're going to have to see how Skillganon decides to play it. I think it's really the proof is in the pudding kind of situation here. But I'm excited to see where Zin goes and what Zin does. And, well, unsurprisingly, along with Menchmire, it's straight to the backline. 2 members down immediately. Saucer gets brought so low, but takes out Surets. And there's just 3 kills coming out in a matter of seconds here. But Skosis has Inara's number. Now looking for Nina Sass from the backline, gets the kill, gets the cooldown of Billow reset, goes into Smolder, gets so much healing back from that, and is able to survive.
No, Skosis. Skosis, what are you doing? Just right in the backline. No one's dealing with Skosis, and the damage, the burst right now. I don't think the Handsome Jacks were ready for it.
Oh, and look at this as well in their loadout. Fan the Flames 4, getting a kill. Not an elimination. A kill reduces the cooldown of Billow by 100%, but there's a kill! Skosis is where players don't expect him. It's 90% for Gangstars, and climbing. Nobody can get here. Even Skillganon gets Void Gripped out of the way. Gangstars with a 100-0 cap. Pick up point number 1 in under 2 minutes.
Looking real strong right now. They already have 3 players on 5 streaks, and they are asserting the pressure. Look how far up Skosis is, dealing this damage, creating a front line out of pure damage.
And that's really impactful, and you can see it's just continuing. Skosis goes, okay, I'm getting boxed out here. Let me pop into Billow real fast, get some of my health back, and I'll just continue the pressure. Inara is behind, but Raptor goes down to the newly buffed Zin's projectile speed as well. So easy to confirm these shots, so much more difficult comparatively to miss that Skosis is just rolling. And look at that, can even track down Talus during their overdrive.
Yeah, that is nuts. Talus, because that's what Talus wants to do. Talus wants to get in the back line, go unnoticed, but Skosis noticed, and it was too late. There's the ultimate for 2,500 damage.
And that's beautiful as well. Just so much kill potential coming through there. Synergizes perfectly with Torvald's field study as well. Not just to keep Skosis alive, but also to deal some extra burst potential and let Skosis get out in the end. Really good play from Gangstars. 1 minute and 18 left on the clock, and the kills just keep on coming through. This payload shows no sign of slowing, and the damage is real from Gangstars all across the top of the charts.
Up over 90% of this payload push, and you were saying how Zin's ultimate combos well with Torvald. It also combos well with Genos because it locks a target down for so long.
Oh yeah, and with the decreased charge time as well, that's actually really impactful. Gangstars used that with Makoa previously. Works as well with Zin if you want to combo maybe down a frontliner. Grumpy Bomb should be immune here by Skosis. Instead goes into Whirl and just dashes in for the damage. So Retz falls to Eevee. Zin continues to bop everybody in front of them. Only Skill Ganon remains, and not for long. Gangstars get a full team wipe, and they go up 2-0 against Handsome Jacks in 3 minutes and 45.
16 streak right now, and the Handsome Jacks just have no answer. There's no pressure being put on Skosis, and Skosis is putting pressure on the entire enemy team. Nino to get in the back line, but every time Nino dives, there's Skosis with the kill.
Right, and Skosis is there waiting for them. You'd expect Zin maybe to be going after some of the enemy backline. They're happy just to sit and babysit, and it's working out well. Zin able to almost play from mid-range with that projectile speed buff. And again, looking at the damage charts, currently leading them is Source's Eevee, but Zin is following very close behind. And then Westo, of all players. Somebody stop this player on Fernando. This is ridiculous. This is 19,000 damage on Fernando right now with Scorch.
Yeah, almost 20. Fernando just being fearless right now. Puts the shield up, runs to the back line, burns the world to the ground.
So here we go. Kicking this fight off is Eevee with Ice Storm, which does actually miss a little bit. Skill Ganon comes in, and King Bomb as well initiates from Lousmurf straight into the back line, looking for the damage potential versus Westo. One more stick around the corner will do it, and Westo does go down. Nina Sassler finds one as well, and this opens the opportunity for Handsome Jacks to come back into the fight. They look to zone. 39% and rising. Comeback mechanic to the red team right now. If they can zone effectively and lock off maybe Menschmeyer from the backline, which is what Nina Sassler does with their true power, we're in a really good angle to maybe hold this down, but Skosis initiates and takes down Talus with their ultimate spite.
Yeah, that was just a one shot right there. Just nothing you can do about that one, Talus. You get hit, you're gone. The Handsome Jacks with a big lead right now. Looked like they figured something out between the rounds about how to engage, but all of a sudden the Gangstars have adjusted themselves, and now they're on the point really pushing it. Although the Handsome Jacks are 99%, they're in overtime.
They've got to come back, and it's worked for them. Handsome Jacks zoned successfully enough to pull out a capture. Equalize by 1/2 here, now 2-1 in favor of Gangstars. Handsome Jacks can tie things up if they manage to get the payload conversion, and you can see that already set on this by how aggressive Skill Ganon was playing. They're really just trying to make space for their team, and Skill Ganon almost survives, just going down to the afterburn from Fernando.
Yeah, this is where I think the aerial assault, I think this is what Skill Ganon was thinking, is in these hallways, you don't go up, but you do have that extra dash overall, which makes you a lot more mobile.
You're more survivable in that situation. Speaking of survivable, Skosis once again causing issues in the enemy backline. There's the kill from Menschmeyer to Nino. And although Handsome Jacks got the capture, Gangstars are forcing them all the way back. This looks like blue team's payload push.
It really does, which is surprising considering the Handsome Jacks immediately pushed the payload about 1/3 of the way there. It's slowly retreating now, but they had a very strong initial load, but the Gangstars just don't seem to care.
And this might have to be the recipe for Handsome Jack's success if they want to hold on this game. If they've got a better capture, then sure, they can take advantage of that. They might have to go up 3-3, but, you know, it is the final capture which ends up winning. So as long as Handsome Jacks can hold on, they might still find victory. And now they're actually starting to take some pressure and control back in their favor.
Enemy rampage.
They're looking good. They, like I said, they seem to have figured something out between rounds, because round 1, they got steamrolled 2-zip, and they didn't look like they really knew what was going on. But between the rounds, they've captured this point. They're not getting crushed completely one-sidedly. They're pushing the point now. They have a minute, and it's almost halfway there.
And this is important. If they can continue the pressure, if they can get this over a minute and maybe take down Zin in the process, might have a good angle to try and hold on and try and get this conversion rolling. Contested at 40 seconds. The incoming barrage of damage to this choke point is difficult to get through, but you know what gets through a choke point? Dread Serpent, and that's exactly what they just utilized.
Yeah, it's hard to set up a defense when your whole team is feared away. Raptor 00X doing a good job playing the front line, but Scorza just running directly at them.
That just doesn't seem to have any sort of mitigation right now. Gangstars, though, are still holding on, and Menschmeyer gets chewed through thanks to the incoming damage from Overdrive. Navron able to survive, but Eevee's been brought very low as well, and Lausmurf picks up 1 kill with Bomb King into the backline of Menace. Now the payload continues to push. This one's going to overtime. Spite used immediately just to one-shot Nino Sassler there, who's already off the table, but Lausmurf is on the high ground looking for Zin in the backline, and they have King Bomb ready as well. Nobody's contesting this. Westo uses Immortal way too far away from the objective. Handsome Jacks can get this through for free if they find the right kill potential. Lausmurf picks up a double. Nino Sassler re-engages with Raging Demon, and down goes Menschmeyer. Only Navron and Saucer are left contesting, and they just cannot withstand the incoming heat of 5 players.
2-2 at 8.5 minutes. Vox and the Gangstars not looking as good as they did round 1.
And there we go as well. By the way, Scos actually changed over to the Guillotine Legendary right at the end of that last round. They were originally looking like they were running below, didn't end up receiving healing during it. Now we can see that Spite actually deals 25% of the target's maximum life with every hit. So when Scos is trying to execute the frontliners, they may be able to get the damage, but still unexceptional, not enough to defend. Tied up 2-2, Handsome Jacks are doing a lot better than expected here.
Well, I think it's because they realized how good Scosas is on Zin. It felt like this time they had their heads on a swivel, always looking for that flanker, and then when they found Zin, they pounced on Zin, got him out of there, and that's really where the Gangstars were winning in the first round, so it's where the Handsome Jacks are winning in the second.
You just don't give them the opportunity to get away with murder, and that's what Scotus was able to do previously. This time around, not so much. Here comes King Bomb looking to kick this fight off in a big way, straight to the backline, bypasses Fernando that they know is already dead, and Lausmurf gets the frag on a Navron. Saucer returns it, but will Eevee be enough to hold this down? 4 members of Handsome Jacks versus the 3 of Gangstars, and Handsome Jacks are sitting pretty on the objective, stacking up their capture piece by piece.
Up over 30% are the Handsome Jacks, whereas the Gangstars less than 10. They're trying to get in, but it's really just Eevee right now. And although Eevee provides a lot of pressure and is good at sending it into overtime, not so good at taking on an entire team fight by herself. There goes the Dread Serpent and the Through Space in time.
And that was a lot of ultimates coming out there. Double support ults, but no frags picked up really from either. Nino Sassler, though, is looking for Torvald, now has Overdrive available. Menschmeyer takes a lot of damage, and Nino barely gets out with their life, but Lausmurf takes over. Inara comes in as well. Seismic Crash lands directly onto Westo. Handsome Jacks at 60%, Gangstars at 27%, but they're still being held at bay. Ice Storm won't be enough here. Skill Cannon does get taken down, but Handsome Jacks just have the damage potential, and the double kill goes through to Lausmurf. Triple kill to Lausmurf to secure so much more of this capture and maybe even the point.
Think that the Gangstars have time to get back on this point. I think it makes more sense just to set up their defense. Because now, if they get caught flat-footed and they get rolled over in that choke point, that's it. The Handsome Jacks will have won it all.
Here we go. Handsome Jacks starting to roll forwards already. Beautiful Gourd comes out from Surrette's just onto the 2 members, Nino and Bomb King. Lausmurf as well to try and keep them alive. You can see Surrette sort of looking here for the heal onto Skill Cannon as well, who's being a bit tricky and not moving into the right position, but hold that thought. Guillotine onto Lausmurf for the backline immediately deals with Bomb King, and Scotus has the opportunity to turn things around with a kill onto Nino Sassler as well. The world damage is good, but it's not enough for the kill. Handsome Jacks, they equalize.
Well, saving their own life at about 1% HP. That would have been a huge double kill coming out of Scotus, but 'twas not to be, as the Handsome Jacks are a little bit stymied right now in their push. They're about a quarter of the way there, 11.5 minutes, but they need to reset and regroup.
You know, this has been the consistent performance throughout today. There's so much emphasis on Scotus has to perform throughout all these games. Look at him now. 1v4 as Zin, able to hold down the front line thanks to support from their team. Torvald comes in the field, study protection as well. But still, if Scotus doesn't 1v2 and get both kills, the team can't pull out a victory. In goes the Whirl as well. Boosted damage thanks to Torvald's field study. Double kill as Lausmurf perishes, and Scotus comes out on top with the double kill they needed.
Yeah, that 1v2 where Scotus needs to win it. Scotus wins it, and now the Handsome Jacks are looking so good. The Gangstars, however, are looking really good. Less than a minute. The point is over 2/3 of the way pushed, but they're at the hardest point to push through.
The problem is,
Gangstars on here.
Well, Handsome Jacks were at this point and at this stage of the game in the previous round. they still managed to push it through thanks to a couple of really important picks and good utilization of ultimates. And now that there's win potential here, there's the opportunity for them to do it again. Westo bursts down the chain reaction detonations. Handsome Jacks have all 5 ultimates ready to go for it, but a beautiful through time and space keeps Bomb King trapped. Navron answers back.
Set up when you have a hallway to fire and there's nowhere for Bomb King to run in that narrow corridor, and Navron knew it, picking up the free kill with the ultimate. The Handsome Jacks, though, are still stacked ultimate-wise. They have 5.
Able to hold on. 4 seconds left. 3. Raptor moving in. Void Crypton taken down, and Bomb King comes in as well, but at this point it's just a trickle. Overtime is ticking. I don't think anybody else can make it in time. Handsome Jacks give it up, and I've got Navron's loadout on my screen right now because I want to talk about something real fast, and I think this is a good opportunity. Look at Heavenly Pool 3 right at the end there. You're fighting into, on Handsome Jack's team, a lot of players that you want to keep as far away from you as possible. I love this card utilization, this loadout right now.
Really intelligent build, because you don't want Inara getting close to you, you don't want Tails getting close to you, you don't want Ruckus getting close to you. All of these characters, you just yank them right up into the air. Don't have to worry about them for a second.
And you can do so from a really effective range as well. That's the real sort of like high point of this, is you can hoist them into the air from distance. This makes Navron very safe. 8th Street currently sitting on the lineups here at 10, 5, and 21, so just not dying for the most part during these games.
Part of more kills than Sorsa is. That's kind of hard to believe, but those are the numbers in front of us. Right now, we got the point being contested, and this is it. This is tournament point, Vox.
Seismic Crash came through. King Bomb doesn't find anybody. Nina Sassel looks for somebody with true power, and they've got an angle onto Navron, who is obliterated immediately. 4 players down for Gangstars. Make that 5. Handsome Jacks roll over their opponents with all the ultimates in the world, and now take control of the objective. 3-3, all tied up at 14 minutes, almost 15 in, and it's 42% compared to Gangstars 27. But Handsome Jacks, they're in Gangstars base. They're not letting their opponents through. Spite doesn't even take down Skill Gunner thanks to the emitter shield there, and Zin doesn't get the kill. It's up to Saucer to try and make their way in and contest this one, but Saucer's very low, and now Wester who takes over control. 78% to Handsome Jacks. Gangstars trying to wrestle control back. They have lost a member. This could be big for Gangstars.
Like where the Gangstars are right now. The Handsome Jacks had to burn all 5 ultimates to get that initial push, and then they went too aggressive on their defense, trying to make it more difficult for the Gangstars to get in. The Gangstars now with the ultimate advantage, and they're the ones on the point.
But they've got through time and space, and there are no corridors to use it in here specifically. Big important play though. Bomb King trapped in a corner, could go down to Eevee here, and likely will perish just to one more shot, but no! Lousmurf is able to disengage, continues looking for the frags. Westo brings them down to 33 health, but they stay alive. Nina Sassler's there to support them. Poppy Bomb moves them away from Zin, and Lousmurf could be the saving grace for this team. 3-3, 99% overtime. Contesting is Skozas, but they can't enter below thanks to the cripple from Inara. Overtime ticks down, resets once again. Menschmeyer looks to move in, but Poppy Bomb displacement is good, and Handsome Jacks get the victory in the 4-3 in Game 3.
Holy, that is as close as a tournament can get. What? Oh, 99-99, quadruple overtime, 3-3 on the last map.
Wow, unexceptional. These ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup games are so boring without PPL teams in. I'm just throwing I'm just throwing major shade at the person in chat right now who thinks that these teams can't put up a fight. You're watching, in this set, the #1 seed out of the Paladins Global Series from Europe, who will be attending LAN next weekend, just being beaten in Game 3 of the Grand Finals today by a team of up-and-coming players. If that isn't enough to get your heart racing, then I don't know what else is within Paladins Esports. This is what we are here for. These are the future players in your professional league. These are the people who will be taking your scene over, and they are doing so well in these community cups.
Paladins already has such a competitive scene. I mean, this isn't one of those games where you have a handful of teams and you go, oh, well, obviously they're the best. This is a game where anybody can take a game off of anybody at any moment because everyone is so good.
And it's just, yeah, that's what I want to see. Hot young talent in chat right now. Shout out to that. And shout out to these players as well, because this was, as you said, unexceptional. This was as close as it gets. 3-3. 99-99, but let's break it down right there at the end, see exactly what happened. And to me, honestly, Lousmurf didn't die. That was it. It wasn't the fact that Loudmouth brought damage right at the end there, although they are at 84,000 and were clearly doing legwork for their team. It was the fact that Gangstars had to invest so much into trying to get a kill that they left themselves defenseless. They didn't even get the kill, but they opened themselves up to being taken down one by one and weren't able to recover from it, and that matters at this level of play.
It's heartbreaking to know that you were 33 damage away. 33, like, there's nothing in the game that won't do 33 damage to
But
somebody.
if Fernando took the afterburn from Westo alongside the fireball, it would have been good enough, but Poppy Bomb relocation, that is down to the wire. That is the coin flip ending that we expected. This is like the 3-3 Ice Mines game. I suppose it's fitting that it would have been on Frozen Guard, but with that in mind, folks, I cannot offer anything besides congratulations to the team on your screen right now. Handsome Jacks take first place in this week's ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup. They get the largest piece of the cash prize pool for this week's open bracket tournament. They also gain 100 Go4 points, which puts them in a better position in the standings this week around. Now, if you're interested in getting involved with the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, make sure you visit play.eslgaming.com/paladins to see what cups are currently available. We've got the ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup, which is played on Thursdays, and you can sign up with your team then. We've also got a more casual 5v5 Onslaught Cup, which is played on the weekend, so if you're interested in just having some fun, then make sure you check that out as well. That one just has crystal prizing available, but with all of the awesome new cosmetics that have come out in OB62, and I'm sure some fantastic ones, which we'll see in the patch preview shortly for OB63, you can bet that that's a good opportunity for you to get your team involved and kit it up to be the most stylistic team in the realm. Of course, today I have been joined by Unexceptional on the mic for the first and third sets here today, as well as the Absurd Gamer for our second semi-final set. It's been wonderful working with these two brilliant up-and-coming casters over the past few weeks, and I'm sure that you will see plenty more of them in weeks to come. I do just have a quick announcement to make due to the fact that I'm going to be in Atlanta next week for the Paladins Premier League Fall Finals LAN and the Wildcard LAN, which qualifies teams from Europe and North America to HRX and the Paladins World Championship. There will be no ESL Go4Paladins Europe Cup broadcast next Friday. The cup is still open to play on Thursday if you're interested in getting involved, but there will be no broadcast as there will be that big Fall Finals going on. I hope to see all of your familiar faces there as well in chat, and I very much look forward to seeing that event go down. A lot on the wire. If you want to find out more information, make sure you visit paladinsworld.com. And from myself, Absurd and Unexceptional, I want to wish you all a very good night. We will see you back again next time.
Pretty baby, pretty baby.